sounded like the beginning scene of like Criminal Minds or something, you know? Like when somebody's tied up and they're trying to get out, and then all of a sudden the screaming got really, really loud and really intense.
Alton, Illinois. A man can be seen on CCTV just after midnight coming out of a house, carrying a white laundry basket down a quiet street. He walks behind a smoke shop and disappears from view. At the time, no one knew what was inside the basket. It wouldn't be until the next day when a construction worker finds something disturbing.
I take him to the dumpster. So when I took him to the dumpster, there's a lot of clothes and shit in there, all stowed all over, laundry basket, and there was a couple pair of shoes. There was shoes, was some slipper shoes too. Slipper shoes. Okay. They was red. They had blood on them. They all look like female shit. For real though. Male shit too.
Female and male clothes?
Yeah.
Okay.
The next day, around 1 p.m., this mother, Heidi Noel, arrives at her daughter Lisa Dodd's apartment. Lisa is 22 and currently 8 months pregnant. Heidi hasn't heard from her in over 15 hours since the night before. Something feels off. She lets herself in. 2 minutes later, other residents can be seen opening the door. Heidi steps back outside, visibly shaking. The neighbors' expressions say everything. And then Heidi makes a chilling 911 call.
911 with the address of...
Yeah. Hi. Listen.
What's going on?
My girlfriend's daughter is killed. Yeah.
What's going on there?
My girlfriend, I'm sorry, my daughter's, he chopped her head off.
Police arrive shortly after and discover the lifeless body of Lisa. In this video, we'll walk you through exactly what happened to Lisa Dodd the night she was murdered. With never-before-seen footage here on the Decoder, we advise viewer discretion as some of its contents may be disturbing. Now, let's dive into the chilling murder of Lisa Dodd. Lisa was living in Alton, Madison County, in Illinois, a suburb of St. Louis, in which she was born. Though it has a far higher crime rate than that of Illinois as a whole, it's where she felt at home, and the residents of this quiet street feel the same. In this surveillance footage, they can be seen taking the trash out, going to work, and carrying out other errands. But all that is about to change. Further up the road, there's construction work going on. Trash from the construction site, like bits of drywall, are going in a large red dumpster parked on the street outside. And on the morning of June 9th, one man carrying old drywall out discovers something in the dumpster that shouldn't be there.
This is what the knife looked like. Down like that.
Okay.
That short, with teeth on that mother.
So like a paring knife?
Like with teeth on it, like you cut meat.
Like serrated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that. That's what the knife looked like. Just
Was
like
the
this.
handle longer than the blade, or was the...
No, it was short, about like this.
About...
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that long.
And when you picked up the knife, did you pick it up by the blade? Did you pick it up by the handle?
Picked it up by the blade. I mean by the handle.
By the handle.
Through that mother.
I got you.
There's oh shit, blood on it. That.
Was the blood on the handle? Was it on the blade? Was it covered in it?
Well,
Was
I
it
it was
dripping?
on the blade.
It was on the blade?
Yeah.
The contractor knows something isn't right about this scene, and he wants to get as far away from it as possible. This is the first sign that this June 9th isn't going to be as ordinary a summer day as the local residents first thought.
Got a message from her last night.
What was the last time? What time did you last hear from her?
It was like 9:05 or so. I had sent her a text, and she said they were talking. And then I tried again at 10, and she didn't answer. And then I tried this morning 2 times, and she didn't answer. And so then I came over here because she usually answers.
Okay. So last time we talked to her was last night when she sent your text message, right?
Yes.
Okay. The officers are coming. They'll be there.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay. Okay.
First responders are dispatched at 12:59 p.m., and they arrive to find Heidi still sitting on the steps, crying.
Where we going, hon?
Apartment 4.
Is anybody else here?
No, I didn't see
You have the key to get in? Right here, right here. This one. Do you have the key?
Oh, I'm sorry.
She gives them the code to enter the apartment building, and though they know what they're going to find, it never gets any easier.
Evan, watch the rear.
Lisa's apartment is on the second floor. The door is unlocked.
Oh, please, if you're gonna make yourself known.
They discover her body in her bedroom. At least they think it's her body. Her head appears to be wrapped in a towel like a turban, but underneath the turban, her head is gone. It's been cut off.
She wasn't kidding. Can we go sit on these front porch steps, though? Okay.
Well, I don't want to bother those people.
You know what? I'll tell them.
My car.
I'll tell them to go away. Okay.
It's okay.
Well, I just. Sir. Apartment 4 upstairs to the right.
Oh my God.
Here, let's
Oh God, please, oh my goodness, listen.
take some big deep breaths for me, okay?
And then I touched her, and she was cold, and so then I wanted to make sure that he just strangled her, and then there wasn't a head. Please find her head.
No one else is in the apartment. There's no sign of a murder weapon, and there's no sign of Lisa's head either. Her killer must have disposed of it elsewhere. Not only has Lisa been murdered, but her body has been desecrated. And this peaceful neighborhood has been torn apart.
They let us know that somebody was found dead next door. To have to lose a child that way, and that baby is an extension of her mother and the rest of her family, so they lost a child as well. They lost 2.
So how did we get here? What happened to lead this young woman who had her whole life ahead of her and was soon to be a mother to such a horrible end? To understand how this crime unfolded, we'll need to go back 24 hours. We find Lisa just living her life, looking forward to her future ahead. Here she is on her porch at just before 2 p.m. on June 8th, scrolling on her phone and looking out at the lawn. In 10 hours, she'll be dead. Lisa Dodd was born in Alton, Madison County on August 14, 1999. She was a bright and enthusiastic child with a particular love for animals. For her 10th birthday, instead of receiving presents, she opted to organize a fundraiser for Riverbend Humane Society, a local no-kill animal shelter in Jerseyville. She continued to have a caring attitude throughout her teenage years. She graduated from Jersey Community High School in 2017 and started to work at Dairy Queen, where customers remember her as a vibrant and friendly server. But she wasn't just in it because she enjoyed socializing with her customers. She was saving up to realize her ambitions of going into the medical field, like her mom before her. In June 2022, she was also 8 months pregnant. The baby was going to be a girl.
I had just sent out invitations prior Saturday for the baby shower. We were just excited and kind of gathering the items you need to have a baby.
Lisa hadn't yet decided on a name for her baby. The family were just calling it Baby Bean, and they were looking forward to the birth and everything that would come afterwards.
She was just a loving soul, just a beautiful soul. And I just wish she would have known how loved she was. You know, that she wouldn't have ever been alone, that she could have gotten out of this relationship and had a full life.
Lisa was in an on-again, off-again relationship with a man named DeAndre Holloway, another Illinois native. DeAndre is the same age as Lisa. It's unclear how they met, but they've been seeing each other for a while, nearly 2 years. DeAndre also has some issues. He uses substances, and he's had a difficult home life, according to his half-sister, PJ.
How long has he not lived there?
He moved
was about 18.
And how old is he now?
21.
Okay. Where did he go when he moved out?
I'm not sure.
Okay. What do you know about DeAndre's life currently, like about like his relationship status and things like that, and his where he lives and things like that?
He lives pretty much with everybody. Like, well, he lives with his girlfriend, but like whenever they get into it, like he hops in different people's homes.
He's also taken Lisa with him on this shiftless lifestyle in the past. At one point, according to her old boss at Dairy Queen, the couple were homeless, living in a tent by Lake Litchfield.
I think she was making up a story,
Okay.
and then she finally did tell me that she had some problems with her boyfriend, was hitting her, and they were actually homeless and were living out at the campground at the lake.
At the start of 2022, they'd moved into the apartment building in Alton. But things weren't going well between the couple.
She had a lot of personal problems with a boyfriend, a lot of calling off. She had a lot of black eyes when she would come in. When she first started, she would make excuses that her dog had jumped up and hit her and caused her black eyes. She was constantly running late, like for personal reasons. Always something coming up. She had a lot of black eyes, a lot of bruising on her arms, like where you could see, like maybe grabbing.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Lisa's boss once even witnessed one of these altercations.
What specifically did you see when the day you actually witnessed her being battered? What did you see?
A punch in the face.
You saw Mr. Holloway punch her
face.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were they in the car when that happened, or were they outside the car?
No, they were in the car, and we have cameras on the back of the building. We actually tried to roll the cameras back, but they're not very good definition, so we weren't able to actually see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was he in the driver's seat?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And did she return to work after that happened?
She did.
And did you see any? Did she have any visible injuries on that occasion?
Her face was red.
Okay. And did she say anything, or was she confronted about that?
I asked her about it, and she said they had gotten in an argument. Eventually, after the excuses about the dog and things like that stopped, she was honest about it and just said that they were always arguing and fighting, and then they would make up and it would happen again.
Okay. Did she, like specifically that day when she was struck, was there any conversation like after the fact when she comes back into work about the police or?
I wanted to call the police, and she did not want to do that.
Okay.
On one occasion, in July 2021, Lisa landed in the hospital after DeAndre apparently broke her nose and gave her 2 black eyes. They'd also been seen arguing on the street in the past. And following one such argument, a witness saw DeAndre punching himself in the face, as if to punish himself. It got bad to the extent that in September 2021, she texted her boss.
My boyfriend beat me again, and I had to go to my mom's. They're wanting me to stay in a safe place because he's threatened before to harm us. Is there any way I could get my shift for tomorrow covered until things settle down a little? I can work the rest of the week. We're just trying to make place to stay safe.
This didn't last, however. Lisa and DeAndre were back together soon enough. In May, DeAndre introduced Lisa to his half-sister, PJ. According to her, DeAndre was the father of Lisa's baby.
So you can tell she's pregnant?
Yes.
And I know this is a dumb question. Did he say it was his?
Yes. They both did, yeah.
But according to Lisa's mom, this wasn't true. Lisa's baby's father was another man. Heidi said that DeAndre appeared to be okay with this, even seeming keen to participate in the upcoming baby shower. But was this really the case?
And whenever they fight, what does he do? Like, where does he go?
He just takes off, and nobody knows where he goes.
Do you know they fight a lot before? Or?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
He told me.
He'd been texting a friend about his poor mental state. On June 5th, just after midnight, he wrote, "I feel like it's all the emotions I've ever put to the side just coming out now at once for real. My cup filled up and now it's got to spill over. I don't know how to healthily let out emotions without snapping or crying because I'm too pissed to talk." He also wrote, "I've always had to be the man even when I was a kid, and was always put in grown man situations with so much pressure on me, and even to this day still. He sounds like a man close to his breaking point. And on Tuesday, June 7th, DeAndre went missing. PJ added Lisa on social media as the family tried to search for him.
I'm currently friends with her now because we were looking for him yesterday because he just went missing.
Okay.
So I found her on Facebook and tried to get some information to see if she knew.
How does it start?
The first person she called was my grandma, and she asked my grandma if he was at her house, and she said no. And the girlfriend said that he didn't come home Tuesday night into Wednesday, and she was looking for him and stuff, and she thought that he may have went to my grandma's house. So my grandma called me and asked if he was up there or if I heard from him.
Lisa came home from work on Tuesday to find that DeAndre wasn't there. He hadn't said anything about when or if he'd be home. Lisa, pregnant nearly to full term and with a lot on her plate, was understandably stressed out. She texted her mom about it at around 9 p.m. on June 7th. She wrote,
"You think he'd just leave like this?"
fretting that he'd taken some clothes with him and that he deliberately left, never to return.
"I think I got left."
Heidi tried to comfort her, looking for a silver lining in the situation. She'd been concerned about her daughter's relationship for some time now, and this seemed like maybe a blessing in disguise. "If this is how it's meant to happen, at least it was nonviolent," she wrote. And, "You've been set free." Lisa replied.
"I'm not seeing it that way yet."
Heidi asked, did he talk about anything going on he wanted to go to? But Lisa had no answers. She just replied,
"No, we just had a weird day."
And said that she'd reacted badly to him that day. Her mom dug for more information, and Lisa said,
"I broke a razor down and cut my leg because I told him I was just gonna kill myself."
"Why were you going to kill yourself?" her mom asked. This calm response possibly indicating it wasn't the first time she'd heard something like this from her daughter. Lisa told her,
"Because I just can't get it right."
If DeAndre had been spiraling, then clearly so had Lisa. The relationship was a powder keg waiting to explode. But in the end, Heidi convinced her that stressing out wouldn't help her or her baby. Eventually, Lisa went to bed, but not before taking her car out on a half-hour nighttime drive at 1:39 a.m., too anxious to sleep. The next morning, at 7:06 a.m., she texted her mom. Still no. DeAndre still hadn't come home. She went through her morning routine, washing her work clothes for her shift later as if it was a normal day, but she felt like something was seriously wrong. She wrote,
"I still feel like he'll show up, but I can't tell."
This is when she started reaching out to DeAndre's family, including his half-sister PJ. Heidi suggested you could call APD and ask if he was arrested, or ask Joe if there was anything weird on the cameras. Joe was Lisa's landlord. She did as her mom suggested and texted him.
"My boyfriend didn't come home last night, and he left his phone. I was wondering if you could watch the cameras and tell me if you see him leave and what he was wearing. His family and I are really worried."
The CCTV showed that DeAndre had gone out with his Uncle Marty, his dad's brother, on Tuesday evening.
The girlfriend called the landlord to their apartment because they have cameras around the apartment and stuff, and she asked the landlord if he can go back and look at the cameras and stuff to see if he saw DeAndre, which he did. It was like around 6:24 when he left the apartment, and he went with his uncle that lives in St. Louis.
Is everybody relieved at that point, or like?
Not really, because the girlfriend said that his uncle was supposed to bring him back that night, and he was supposed to call like before 10, and then it was after 10.
But he didn't come back that night. PJ went to bed early on the evening of June 8th without hearing anything else. Lisa, meanwhile, received a message out of the blue at about 8 p.m. from DeAndre's uncle, saying he was bringing DeAndre back and that everything was fine. With his uncle, that's who called anyway. Her mom replied, "Where does his uncle live?" And that's still across the bridge, Lisa said, and yeah, I agree. Heidi wasn't happy about the way her heavily pregnant daughter was being treated. She didn't trust DeAndre at all. She told Lisa, "And of course it's your fault. That. And you better be careful so he doesn't give you something that Bean will catch." Ignoring this advice, Lisa went to pick DeAndre up. They could be seen here on CCTV arriving back at their apartment at 9:11 p.m. While in the car, Lisa texted her mom, "I'm trying to figure it out." This was the last text she'd ever send, and this CCTV image is the last time she'd ever be pictured. At 10:49 p.m., Heidi texted, "You okay?" and received no reply. By then, Lisa was already dead. Over the next few hours of CCTV, various neighbors come and go. Neither Lisa nor DeAndre are seen again. Until 11:57 p.m., when DeAndre comes out. He's carrying a white laundry basket. He comes to stand next to Lisa's car without getting inside, suggesting he's forgotten the keys. He's changed his clothes, and he's now wearing dark shoes and a face covering. He goes back inside and comes out again a few minutes later, again carrying the laundry basket. He walks out of frame and towards a nearby smoke shop, around the back of which is a dumpster. CCTV from a local business displays the rest. At 1 minute past midnight, we can see the white laundry basket being thrown into the dumpster, alongside some clothes. This laundry basket, as the police will later discover, contains Lisa's head. 2 hours later, her car is missing from the parking lot. DeAndre has gone to his mother's house.
And then my sister said around 2:30 in the morning that he's like banging on the door and stuff, and he's like pacing and like acting nervous.
Where?
At my house.
This morning?
Yeah, this morning
Okay.
at 2:30.
PJ finds him in the bathroom at around 10 a.m. the next morning, June 9th, 3 hours before Lisa's mom will discover her daughter's body.
I see my grandma standing in the doorway to the bathroom, and I looked and I'm like, oh, there's Dee. And then he was cutting his hair off and stuff, and I asked him why he was cutting his hair off, and he just said a fresh start.
Okay. And what's his demeanor like?
He was like nervous, like you can tell he was like really nervous.
Just your personal opinion, why do you think he's cutting his hair off?
Got in trouble.
DeAndre hasn't cut his hair in 2 years, and he's proud of his dreadlocks. Why would he be cutting his hair off today of all days? He asks his mom if he can take a shower and have some clothes. She gives him a change of clothes, including a pair of gray sweatpants.
Clothes that he had on, he took them outside for some reason, and he set it by the sidewalk, and then he comes back in, and then he was...
Did you see him take those clothes off?
Yes.
So is that why because you said he didn't have a shirt to wear. So when do you see him take the clothes off?
He had a hoodie on and some pants, and then he took his shirt off, or his hoodie off when he was cutting his hair, I guess, because it was already off.
Mm-hmm.
And then he still had the pants on and stuff, and the hoodie was on the bathroom floor.
And then that's when he gets out and asks your mom for clothes?
Yeah.
And then he didn't have a shirt on, obviously?
Because he didn't want to put the same clothes back on.
Okay, what were those clothes?
I know it was a bucket hat. I think it was like blue.
You didn't see anything about a hat. He had a hat on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
He had like a bucket hat on. I think it was like blue or something.
Anything about the hoodie that you recognize?
No.
With a shirt he had on? No. So when he gets to the shower, those clothes are all in the bathroom?
Yeah.
And then that's when he gets the gray pants from your mom, and does he ask you for a shirt?
No, I just gave him one.
Because he knew.
Yeah.
So then what does he do with the clothes?
After we got out the shower, he took them outside, put them by the sidewalk where our trash can was. And then he comes back in the house, chats for a little bit and stuff. And then my grandma was cooking breakfast, and she asked him if he wanted a plate. And he said, yeah. And then that's when he went back outside. And then I guess the clothes that he had on the sidewalk, he put them in the trash, which they're in there now.
PJ was asleep when DeAndre came home that night at around 2:30 a.m., but her sister was awake.
She said that when he was banging on the door and stuff, it scared her, and she was asleep in the living room watching Netflix. Well, not asleep, but she was awake.
You 4 girls there then? Sister, mom, grandma, all there overnight?
It was me, my mom, sister, grandma, yes. Yeah. She said that she hears like really loud banging and stuff, and then she looks out, and she said she seen D, and then when she opened the door, she looked in the parkway, in the parking lot thing, in our driveway, and then she said that she seen a black car, and his girlfriend drives a black car.
It seemed strange to DeAndre's family that he showed up driving his girlfriend's car without his girlfriend. And the suspicious signs don't end there. His grandmother notices he's got other items of Lisa's property.
He had I don't even know what his girlfriend's name is. Okay. But anyhow, he had gave me her ID in the debit card. Okay. And I said, well, why you got her debit card?
Yeah.
And license, you know. And I said, now she out there driving, and then she thinks she got her license, and you got it. Then this morning, he gave me 2 keys.
Okay.
And I said, well, where you get these keys from? And he said he found them on the ground. But he didn't say where he found them on the ground. And I said, well, give it here. I said, then I can get in touch with her.
Okay.
And
you want to put that stuff in there?
I'm going to get it back now?
This here?
Yeah.
Is that yours?
No, but I'm going to try.
Right.
I'm going to try to get it to her.
Okay, that's what I'll do. I'll take care of it.
You sure now?
Yeah.
The key too?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Did he tell you what those keys were for?
He just told me he found them.
What did he say to you when you asked him why he had that stuff? He didn't get an answer?
Just look like he's in a daze or something.
DeAndre doesn't have an answer as to why he'd have Lisa's possessions. And at around midday, he leaves the house without any real word about where he's going.
He said, I'm going to cut some grass. And so she asked him, where was he going to cut grass? And he just said he's going to cut grass.
Okay. And he left on foot?
He left on foot.
It seems like DeAndre has been trying to cover his tracks. He's made himself less recognizable, changing his clothes and throwing them in the garbage. He's been carrying many of Lisa's personal belongings, which he's handed off to his grandmother to get rid of. And he's left Lisa's car parked on the street with a handwritten "for sale" sign in its window. Now he's taken off on foot. His behavior is making the truth of what happened that fateful night clearer and clearer. A truth that Lisa's mom, it seems, has known all along. She said as much on her call to 911.
My daughter's boyfriend killed her. He chopped her head off.
Heidi didn't need to catch DeAndre in the act to know what he'd done.
Are you outside the apartment right now?
Yes, yes.
What kind of a weapon does he have?
He's not here. He took her car.
Okay, the officers are coming. So you haven't heard from her boyfriend or talked to him at all?
No, I haven't.
It seems she spoke too soon when she told her daughter to be grateful things had ended safely without violence.
Even being mom, like, if you knew where he's at, would you tell me?
I would. Like, if I knew what was going on, I would tell you. But from last night of him doing the disappearing act to what's going on now, I have no clue, like, what transpired.
Are you afraid of him?
Yeah, I got an order of protection on him.
Okay. Yeah. And what prompted you to get that?
He was staying with me for a couple days, and he was becoming frightening, like he was going to do something. So I was like, you gotta go. And so when he left, he called my daughter back and was like, I love you guys, but I'm coming back to kill you.
So what actually happened inside the apartment that night between the couple walking inside at 9:11 p.m. and DeAndre coming back out just before midnight? Their downstairs neighbors have been witnesses to a lot of the violence in their relationship.
Well, the past few days they've been arguing, and that's nothing new.
Okay.
They fight, like they used to fight all the time, and it would be loud fighting, and we actually had to call the cops on them before, because I don't know who it was, but somebody picked something up and slammed it against the wall. We assumed it was one of them throwing each other.
And on the night of June 8th, they heard it all.
Last night it was different. It was like we got home from picking me up from work. I got home from work around 9:30-ish, and their front door was cracked, which is unusual. They don't.
9:30 p.m. last night? Okay.
They don't usually leave their front door cracked, and it was, and that was a little weird. And I heard like muffled yelling, like not screaming, but yelling in a way, kind of like in pain, like you just like snipped your finger with a scissor and you had to put some over your mouth so you wouldn't scream too loud. That's what it sounded like.
So you say it sounded like muffled screaming?
Kind of, but it wasn't too loud.
Okay.
And then later on, we heard like the apartment shakes a little bit whenever you move too much, and it started shaking. And we're like, okay, they must be fighting or something. And we were gonna wait to see if it got better, or like if it didn't, because we were just gonna go sit outside and wait it out.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to deal with it. And so whenever that was happening, the apartment was shaking, they were fighting about something, and then all of a sudden the screaming got really, really loud and really intense. And that was, I would say, probably about 9:45, 9:50. And then the apartment had like 5 or 6 loud like thuds, and they got louder and louder each time.
Okay.
And they shook the apartment as well. And that sounded more like it was coming from...
So like, what did it sound like, experienced in life, to your best ability, that would have created, or possibly created the sound that you heard?
Probably, I really don't know other than like chopping wood.
Okay.
Because that's what it felt like. He had enough, I didn't mean to say he, but like, you know, that's what it sounded like there was enough time to do, was like, it was very constant beats too. Okay. So that's what made me think it sounded like that.
So do you think it sounded like an instrument hitting something, or do you think, or what? Something is making you kind of envision that through sound. You know what I mean? Like we hear something and our brain is gonna take that information in, right? What we're hearing, smelling, feeling, and we're gonna kind of like paint this mental picture, right?
Right.
So, what about that sound makes you think chopping wood?
It was more of how steady it was.
Okay.
Because when you chop wood, you know, you gotta lift it up, you gotta hold it, and then you gotta put all your weight into it, and all your muscle.
Yeah.
And when you do it, you go.
And you kind of got a rhythm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it had like 4 or 5, 6 of those beats, and then it just stopped. The screaming stopped, the sound stopped, the shaking stopped, everything stopped.
That chopping sound, something the neighbors couldn't bring themselves to consider, was the sound of Lisa's head being cut off.
At that point, we heard somebody walk outside, but we weren't able to see because we just glanced down the window, and from the window that the awning is right there, so we can't see down on the patio deck area, and so we couldn't see who it was, but they were out there for about 2 minutes, and then they came back in, and they came upstairs, but I was too scared to see who it was.
And then what?
We went outside to see if so my best friend came over, and because I was like, hey, something's going on, I'm not feeling so right about this. And she was like, I'll come stay outside with you. So we were standing out waiting for one of them to come downstairs, because usually after they fight, one of them comes downstairs.
Okay.
Neither one of them did, but the lights upstairs in their apartment kept turning on and off.
Okay.
So we knew somebody was up there. We assumed it was Lacey.
Okay.
But we didn't see either one of them.
The neighbor texted their landlord. She wrote, "Hey, I don't really know what to do. We got home, and as soon as we walked in, we started feeling thumps, and then someone started screaming for like 5 minutes straight. It stopped for a minute, then the thumping started back up. The neighbor's door upstairs was also cracked open." The landlord tried to get in touch with Lisa, but heard nothing in response. The neighbor said, "If we hear it back up again, we'll call the cops." But they didn't hear it start back up again, because it was already too late. With all of this evidence mounting up, at around 9:30 p.m. on June 9th, the police execute a search warrant on DeAndre's mother's house. In the trash can outside it, in line with PJ's statement, they find the discarded clothing he was wearing in the CCTV footage, as well as his cut-off dreadlocks wrapped in toilet paper. There's no sign of DeAndre himself. But at 1:45 a.m., the early hours of June 10th, the investigators receive a phone call from the Gillespie, Illinois Police Department. That afternoon, they took a John Doe into custody, whom they later recognized as none other than DeAndre Holloway. The Alton Police Department had been gearing up for a manhunt, but there's no need. DeAndre was arrested in possession of cannabis that afternoon in Gillespie.
You search him?
Yeah. Don't have a name.
That's okay. What's her name?
What'd I have? What's that?
What'd I have?
You have cannabis on you.
Oh,
That's
legal.
illegal.
Okay, exactly. Right.
DeAndre is restless with the officers.
Need some water or anything?
Yeah, I would like some water, because, you guys gotta,
Hey. You need some water?
Yeah.
Okay, please get you some water.
Is it okay if I walk around? Is it okay if I stand up and take a step, like a couple steps?
What you gonna do? Why you gotta do that? Pull your pants up or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
That's it.
You're fine.
He's doing his job. This man has done nothing but his job, I swear to you.
You need to sit back down in the chair, please.
Didn't you just say I could pace?
No, I didn't say you could pace. I thought you said you had to get to be pants. If you could sit down in there, please. Thank you.
Do you mind if I pace? Is that illegal? I'm just I'm here. I'm handcuffed, ain't it?
We don't want that. We want you to sit down.
Exactly. I know you don't want that.
So if you could please sit down, guys.
I can't. I'm handcuffed.
Yeah, you can. You can sit down.
I literally can't do anything. I'm handcuffed.
You need to sit down.
Why are you guys scared of me for what?
I'm not scared. You need to sit down.
How? If I'm literally sitting here pacing handcuffed, I can't do shit. He searched me.
Okay, so what's your name? What they're going to do is...
I literally asked if I was being detained. That man said no. And then he proceeded to ask me the same question over and over and over. And I said the same thing. And again, he's just not having it because he's got an attitude problem with me. I got an attitude problem too. I know I got one. I got one. That's why I'm not sitting down.
But you know I can make you sit down, so I'm not.
Do it.
What did I just say?
Do it. Sit me down.
I said I could.
Do it.
I'm not going to do it.
Because you're scared. Exactly. I'm handcuffed.
Scared for what?
Do it.
You know, guy, we're not going to get into this.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, weren't you just being mean to me, though?
I'm not being mean to you.
I
said you're pacing back and forth, and you said, well, set me down. And I said I could if I wanted to, but I don't want to.
He's behaving manically, pacing, and repeatedly questioning the officers. At one point, he starts to laugh and bang his head against the wall.
Don't do that.
They just fucking did that to me. Come in here.
Don't do that.
Do something. That's what I'm saying. Do something. Do something. Don't do that. That's what I'm saying. Don't do that.
The cops take drastic measures to restrain him from hurting himself. They keep him on the floor as he assures them he's going to get out.
Just all my folks will come get me out.
Well, we don't know your name, so...
Exactly, but my folks will be there to get me out.
Who's your folks? I know who you're going to...
Don't worry about it.
He still refuses to tell them who he is. But it doesn't matter. The investigators from Alton come to arrest him on suspicion of Lisa's murder. They carry out a warrant for DNA, fingerprints, and other samples. And at around midday the next day, June 10th, nearly 24 hours since the discovery of Lisa's body, the investigators sit down with DeAndre for an interview. But DeAndre's not talking. He refuses to give them any information, even his name, which they already know. He just keeps saying he wants to go to work, though it's not clear if he's actually employed. He also says he's dissociated and that he's once been prescribed medication by a doctor. After this, he asks for his lawyer, and the investigators comply, terminating the interview. On June 13th, DeAndre is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of intentional homicide of an unborn child, a human body, offenses relating to motor vehicles, and concealment of homicidal death. Bond is set at $2 million. The case leads to a lot of local emotion, including from the police chief.
What happened to 22-year-old Lisa Dodd, who had just moved to this place in Alton, is beyond irreprehensible. It is completely terrible what happened to her. Her unborn child was also killed as a result of this.
DeAndre's family, however, entreat the public to take the nuances of his circumstances into account. His stepfather, Chris Hawk, takes to YouTube to talk about it on June 16th.
I never thought I would be recording a video like this. First of all, I want to offer my condolences to the Dodd family. I cannot imagine what you must be going through. I'm not going to deny that what happened was an extreme act of evil. It was. I don't know how else to explain it. It was an act of evil. I don't know if there's a word that describes it. And over here we are ashamed. His mom, his sister, we're all shocked. We knew he was capable of violence, but we never saw this. We've been trying to get help for him for at least 3 years. But as far as longer term mental care, we were always told that we can't hold them unless they've done something.
He doesn't deny the horror of what DeAndre's done, but he attributes DeAndre's actions to his mental state, something his family has been trying to do something about for years, but he says the system wouldn't let them.
Our system fails people with mental problems. I've grown up in an environment with mental problems, and people are kind of left on their own. It's a tragic situation. This is the D that we knew. They're old pictures, but they show that there's a human there. The human does exist. He's not a monster. What he did was monstrous. He's not a monster. I'm not advocating that DeAndre should ever be allowed to enter civilized society again. I mean, he's obviously crossed the line there. I'm not advocating anything like that. I'm just saying there's a human being here, and it's tragic. It's tragic what mental illness has done to him.
These are the early days of the case, when DeAndre's only just been charged, and he's not doing well in jail. He's been refusing to come out of his cell and making threats to corrections officers. These included saying, "I will cut off your head." He refuses to attend his virtual court appointment on June 14th, and officers forcibly restrain him to bring him to court. These issues remain in his case. He's found mentally unfit to stand trial and undergoes treatment at a state institution until he regains competency to face the charges. At the same time, the Illinois Supreme Court rules that an unborn child cannot be considered a second murder victim for the purpose of seeking a life sentence. This impacts the sentence that can be sought in DeAndre's case. But in January 2024, he enters a guilty plea. On January 17, 2025, he is sentenced to 60 years in prison. This includes 30 years on the murder charge, 20 on the homicide charge, and 10 on the concealment charge to be served consecutively. He'll have to serve at least 52 years before he's eligible to be released. There remain no real answers as to why he killed Lisa, though there's plenty of speculation out there. Jealous that she was having another man's baby, snapping under the stress of a failing relationship, or just finally going too far in a continued pattern of violence. We'll never know the truth. Lisa's family, meanwhile, continues to mourn.
We're here to announce that DeAndre Holloway was convicted and sentenced in the murder of Lisa Dodd and her unborn child today to 60 years in prison. And I want to introduce Heidi, Lisa's mother and grandmother of the unborn daughter, to give a few words reflecting on today's verdict and sentence.
I would like to thank the many law enforcement agencies that collaborated on my daughter's case. A special thank you to Officer Wimmersberg of the Alton Police Department for his excellent work on this case. I am forever grateful for your time and wisdom.
This is a tragic outcome of a 2-year on and off again domestic violence relationship. This didn't have to end this way. My daughter should be here raising her toddler
instead of being a casualty of domestic violence. If you have a mental instability or mental illness, seek treatment and be consistent with your treatment. Understand that your condition or illness will not keep you from being held accountable for the crimes you commit. If you are in a domestic violence relationship, if someone is emotionally, mentally, or physically abusing you, make a safe plan to leave that relationship. If they continually disrespect your boundaries, make demeaning comments, and control your every movement, this is abuse. Find the resolve to leave that relationship. If someone threatens to end your life, believe them. If they can say it, think it, and talk about it, they can carry out the threat. Reach out to your local, regional, or national resources that are available to assist you in making a safe plan to leave. Your life depends on it. It isn't easy, and it may be one of the hardest things you do, but your life is important, and you are worthy and deserve a life free from abuse.
I want to say that you don't often see the kind of strength that the family of Lisa has exhibited in this case. Incredible strength, incredible grace in the courtroom today with her statements to the defendant who lived the life of her daughter and granddaughter, and who over years, as she said, had abused them, and is now going to face decades in prison for the crime of murder for 2 lives, not just one, the mother and the unborn child. And I just want to commend the family to say that it's very inspirational to see the kind of strength that you've shown, and I'm sure that everyone in the courtroom experienced the same thing. There were aspects of this case related to the unborn child who died that were extremely moving. One in which, Lisa's last act, her hand was resting on a book about pregnancy. So her last thought was probably about her unborn child. And so there's a beauty there in those last moments. And I think that she's with us now.
Her mom wrote to their GoFundMe page, "This sentence brings some resolution to a heinous crime. No sentence or amount of time will bring my daughter or granddaughter back, but this sentence should ensure he's not able to hurt anyone else. As I mentioned in the previous update, any donations received will be donated to our local domestic violence resource. The GoFundMe has made $16,000 so far." And as we end this story, we leave you with a poem Lisa once shared on her Facebook page.
After a while, you learn the subtle difference between holding a hand and chaining a soul. And you learn that love doesn't mean leaning, and company doesn't mean security. And you begin to learn that kisses aren't contracts, and presents aren't promises. And you begin to accept your defeats with your head up and your eyes open, with the grace of a woman, not the grief of a child. And you learn to build all your roads on today, because tomorrow's ground is too uncertain for plans. And futures have a way of falling down in mid-flight. After a while, you learn that even sunshine burns if you get too much. So you plant your own garden and decorate your own soul, instead of waiting for someone to bring you flowers. And you learn that you really can endure, that you really are strong, and you really do have worth. And you learn and learn. With every goodbye, you learn. The end.
Broomfield, Colorado, just before Christmas. And for one family, things are about to go horribly wrong.
Broomfield Police, Sky.
Yes, hi there. I need to report threatening emails and phone calls from a stalking ex, and just didn't know what would be the appropriate course here.
Do you live in Broomfield?
I live in Broomfield. I have no idea where he is.
That's okay. What's your address?
My address is 3132 Promontory Loop.
Okay. And is there a restraining order in place between you two?
There's not, but I would definitely be curious about getting one, considering it's been threatened with violence against both me and my family.
Okay. And is it text messages, phone calls?
I have text messages and an email today that had a picture of my husband threatening to put something in his tailpipe.
Oh, okay. This is your ex?
Yes, from 20 years ago, who stalked me for 20 years.
Okay. Is this ex a male or a female?
Male.
Okay. Okay. So then he's threatening violence against you and your family, correct?
Correct. He told me that I should kill myself, and then he said that he sure hopes my husband drives safe and he doesn't have anything in his tailpipe.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Christine, Officer Henry.
This woman has been receiving threatening emails for months, and they've escalated into real life.
Very good to meet you. I talked to Detective Martinez, so I kind of have an idea what's going on.
Yes, I did as well. I did not see any markings on the car.
Okay.
You can see like it's a little bit dirty, so I didn't see blood marks, but...
And was it in the house or the garage or where?
This was at Golden Bradley Village in Westminster, so
Okay.
it's parked out in the parking lot.
Nothing jumps out at me.
I know, I didn't either. I'm hoping it's just meant to mess with me.
Fortunately, this is rare, but if somebody does do something weird like this, it's usually obvious.
Yeah, but like my street looks like this all the time. There's no one out there. Like I know the normal cars.
Yeah.
So I don't know where he's following from.
When did he pop back up?
So first text message was back in October.
Okay.
Just threats.
Just out of nowhere? Just
He
pop
does
back?
this. He does
Okay.
this, and he's been doing it for over 20 years.
Okay. So this is,
This is the first time it's this violent. The only other one is that he had taken a picture of my husband getting out of his vehicle.
Where?
In Denver.
Okay.
Her stalker is following her, taking photos of her husband and threatening to kill. It's driving Christille to the brink.
So I told Detective Martinez I am going out today to grab, to get one of the nice higher end cameras, so I can get a dash cam and a rear cam, and one that is constantly feeding to the cloud, and motion sensing, so even when my car is off, that I can hopefully catch this guy on camera.
A suburban mother hunted by a ghost. And when the worst happens, this stalker seems to be right at the center of it.
This stalker that knew exactly where she was and how she was doing things, and I'm like, an evil genius.
What are you terrified of? If it wasn't him, who was it? I don't care if you capture him. I don't care if you kill him. Find him.
Hands on your face! Hands on your face!
A stalker, a digital trail of breadcrumbs, and a chilling mystery that turned deadly. Here on the Decoder, we've gone through hundreds of hours of exclusive footage to bring you the harrowing story of Christille Krug. 43-year-old Christille has lived in Colorado all her life. Born in Boulder and studying biochemical engineering at 2 prestigious Colorado colleges. Now she's living in Broomfield, near Denver, with her husband and her 3 children, aged 14, 11, and 8. She has a good career, working remotely in tech, having built for herself the kind of solid, stable life many people dream of. But there's someone out there who's envious of this life and wants to be involved by any means necessary. On October 2nd, 2023, she gets a strange text. It's from a man named Anthony, asking if she wants to hook up. Anthony Holland is an ex-boyfriend.
I did a timeline for you. Okay, and in this timeline, we dated summer of '99.
Okay.
Very briefly. Like there was a breakup somewhere here, like in the fall. So I do this kind of like also, but you can see like way over there.
Yeah.
Last contact I ever had with him, where he tried to reach out to me personally, saw him in person, would have been like in the spring of 2001. Everything here you're gonna see in question marks because I'm like, about? I'm just trying to remember like where I was living and where I had kids at the time. So I put everything in green where they're like, just like little teeny things. It's like, oh, hey, how you doing? Found me on old information. So it's public information. Technically, I can't say that like he found me in a special way.
Yeah.
But it was years later, right, that he came back with a quick email trying to check in. And these events here last maybe like within a period of a couple weeks. Usually it's a handful of email messages. Usually it's just like light, easy, like what's going on. Yeah, like trying to like, yeah, just kind of start a conversation, but it's all light, cordial, whatever. This one got really, weirdly obsessive. So same kind of thing where like common little teeny little messages. And then after just a period of few messages, he's like, oh, my family's so happy we're talking again. I'm like, what?
We're not talking.
This is not a relationship. And then like he'd send me snippets of like saying he thought our relationship was like the Notebook and that we'd always end up together. I'm like, whoa, this is getting really weird, right?
At what point did you get married?
So I met my husband all the way here in the summer of 2001, and then I got we were together all the way through college, and then I got married in 2007.
She's married to a man named Daniel Krug, who's also 43 and works in finance for the Department of Public Health. She found Anthony's attention creepy, not seductive.
So I shut it down real hard. I said, this is really creepy for me. You need to stop. I'm married, happily married with children. You need to stop. And he got like real emotional, real hurt. It wasn't angry, but it was hurt and real like over the top emotions. And then blocked me on, because you can see when somebody blocks you on Facebook, and I'm like, good. And I blocked him, and and then I shut down Facebook entirely before the pandemic. So like there was no way to get a hold of me on any kind of old email address or old way, and that's when this starts. What is important is that it started October 2nd and 3rd. Let's see, these things, unfortunately, and I apologize because one of these is going to get really graphic. But this was the first day of contacting me. Again, this was the type of message that I always got before.
Okay.
The only thing that was really alarming about this one was I was like, what do you mean you looked me up? And I immediately got a sense of this something is not, especially after this last interaction where I'm like, you're pretty delusional and you're coming out again of the woodworks and now going above and beyond to really find me. And then when I didn't respond, and you'll see, so this is on Monday at 1, and when I don't respond, then immediately the next day it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Right? And then, okay, so I got alarmed, and you'll see it in the text message. All I did was I was like, oh, we're going to create a stalker log. We're going to monitor this. I'm going to go see what information I can have. Then things go dark, right? And this is when I then contact you guys, because this now is escalating. This is not just threats against me. It's threats against my husband. He contacts me, and you'll see my little log that this is an email address he contacts me now from more frequently, like he actually reuses it. But he is now showing that picture that day. There's snow on the ground. My husband had only gone into work on that Tuesday for Halloween. I can tell because of the timing when my husband left work. We know that was in the morning.
Got it. Okay.
Fortunately, even though my husband has a camera in his car, he did not see anybody.
Sure.
And then unfortunately lost all the video because he didn't save it. So.
Not only is this stalker sending abusive, sexual, and threatening material to Christine, but he's now stepped out of the virtual sphere and into the real world. The danger feels tangible. He knows all sorts of strange details about her life, like that her license plate is expired, but her husband's is not. 3 days after she sits down with the cops, she has to call them again. Her stalker has apparently vandalized her car after following her to the dentist.
No car that keeps popping up that you can think of that's like, hey, it's weird, I saw X car or anything like that.
Well, I ran a background check on him,
Okay.
and I know what vehicle he drives, and I never see that vehicle, but it's a nondescript vehicle.
The Camry?
Yeah.
Okay. And so this would be my next question.
Yeah.
Are you sure he is actually putting eyes on you and following you, or is he just saying stuff that's specific but general enough that he could, you're like, oh. Like...
So the only way that I could think of that this event that he would be able to say what he did without putting eyes on me is if he had a tracker on my phone and my phone picked up literally in that building and it didn't pick up any of the other surrounding buildings. But otherwise, like where I parked and then where I went to tell me that I went into my dentist.
Yeah, that's
on
a
that
little
street
weird.
when there's like so many other businesses there. The in-person stuff that's scaring the crap out of me and why I logged this was starting since last Tuesday and it's been almost every day since.
Okay.
I've gotten a few days break.
And it's always been text message, or has it been?
And emails.
Email, okay.
And he's changing his phone number every single time he text messages me too.
Okay.
Except for this last one on Friday, he used the same email string for an illicit picture that he sent me earlier on Friday.
All right.
So I think he's got spoof numbers.
Yeah, and anymore, that's, I mean,
That's so common.
that's so easy to do. It's not like the old days where you had to be a IT genius to be able to figure out how to do that. Now it's, I mean,
now you can buy it.
Yeah, I mean, you can download an app on your phone and do that.
Without pinning down the exact source of the abusive messages, it's proving virtually impossible to get the stalker to stop. In the meantime...
So, I would recommend, like I said, make sure you're keeping doors closed, locked, all that good stuff.
All the time. We've
Okay.
got cameras now everywhere around the property.
I'm just trying to think of anything else I could recommend to you to try to help.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm going to also get my permit for my concealed carry. So, yes, I will be making sure I am protected.
and those are one of those things I can't be like, oh, go buy yourself a gun, but if you want to fool around, you can find out. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. All right, and then if anything else, all of a sudden something weird happens, or all of a sudden you go, oh God, how did we miss that, or something like that, call us. Don't wash it, call us, we'll let us know. Even if I thought there was something, we'd swab it and test it and see what happened, but I mean, I don't even see anything to do that with, so.
As Christine gets more and more nervous, so does her husband, Dan. He's the one being followed, photographed, and threatened with murder. This comes out at work.
You had talked to Stan about this employee of yours, Dan Krug?
Yes.
So what can you tell me about it?
About Dan, I mean, I can tell you a lot about what I know, but the situation in particular that I was telling Stan about is that, probably had to have been not too long before Thanksgiving last year. Dan came into my office. I directly supervised Dan. He was my employee, and he came into my office to give me an update on the situation with his stalker at the time, and was particularly agitated that day. I think it was his first day back in the office after a period of time, and was just talking to me about what he was going through, about the fact that he'd been kind of sent out in his mind into the world as sort of bait, is the way that he seemed to describe it to me. And as he was in my office, he got very emotional and got teary, and then pulled out a baton that he showed me that he was using as something just to protect himself in case something happened.
And Mr. Krug has shared a little bit of what's going on. It's real unfortunate. I mean, what's going on with him and his wife and this individual. So
With Dan a possible target, the police sit down to talk with him too.
She dated him prior to a relationship with me, so that ended sometime before the summer of 2001. That's when Christelle and I started dating. She and I got married in 2007.
And I guess at what point did she tell you that he recontacted her this last time?
It was either November 1st or November 2nd. It was after she had gotten a picture of me at work.
Okay.
She brought me up to speed on that.
Gotcha, okay. And the first contact that he initially made with her was back on October 2nd. I guess why that month gap, do you think, before she told you?
I'm trying to remember from some of the details from the log that she's keeping. I'm guessing that it was creepy, but not real.
He reveals that their relationship hasn't been perfect recently, and the stalker hasn't been helping with that.
Lots of people are jerks online.
Sure.
Other than that, I'm sure she has mentioned to you that she and I are going through a rough patch, kind of on the rocks. So probably didn't seem that pressing until it was.
Sure, okay. And she didn't mention that to me, that you guys were having a rough time currently.
I'm married, happily married with children.
Are you guys in the process of separating, getting divorced, or working through things?
To be determined.
Gotcha.
We still live together. We have our kids, our house, finances. We are one. Rocky. Marriages have up and downs. Rocky patch. This is not helping.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have been together a long time still, 20-some years, so that in of itself is an accomplishment. Is there any reason to suspect that Christelle is not being honest in any of this?
No.
No.
I know her. No.
Dan remains fiercely defensive of his family.
My brother, Matthew, is a cop, so I have a retractable asp steel baton.
Yeah.
As I said, not right now, but otherwise, it's on me all the time. I sleep with it next to me. Peppered, gel, spray, always in this pocket, asp always in this one. I've bought some additional security cameras for the house.
With tech companies dragging their feet to share the relevant data, the investigators suggest they might have to do something drastic to get this to stop.
Again, just kind of playing the game of chess. We're just trying to figure something out to draw him out. Eventually, it might come down to Christelle actually reaching out to him and setting up an open-air meeting somewhere public where we would be sitting there 3 hours ahead of the meeting time, and then we would arrange her to come at the meeting time, and then we would wait like 3 hours after to see who's coming and going. So that would be kind of an all-day process for us. Hopefully it doesn't get there. I'm just trying to brainstorm ideas to draw him out. I also have legal court order paperwork into various tech companies for GPS data, stuff like that. Problem is, this guy's not very trackable.
Yeah, that's what her PI said.
But we do have a lot of resources that we're tapping into. I can assure you we're doing everything we can to try to track this down.
I believe you.
And
the idea of her having to reach out, I know you'd be there, makes me sick.
I don't want to do that if we can avoid it. So that's going to be like the plan of last resort if not everything is working.
Dan resists the idea of putting his wife in what he sees as further danger, even though the cops would be there every step of the way. But it's looking increasingly like their only option. Even though he was followed to work, he can't describe anything about the stalker or his car.
Oh, and then Halloween, when you did go to the office that day.
Yes.
And that picture was taken of you getting out of your car. Do you remember any cars passing by when you were getting out or anything like that?
I don't park there anymore, but I always parked on that side. It's against Cherry Creek Drive.
Okay.
So it's against the busiest road.
Sure.
And it's building A, and today's Thursday, you were on site. There were probably multiple board and commission meetings, because there always are. There are always people walking around, and always cars.
Yeah.
And I pay zero attention.
Could have been anything.
It was just another day
for me.
The stalker is as elusive as a ghost. Throughout November, the messages continue to escalate. He posts an ad on the dark web, inviting men to assault her on her birthday. He also talks about saving Christine from her marriage and suggests that she come and live with him and his girlfriend on the East Coast after murdering her husband herself. You know how to get me when he dead. It's like he wants to drive a wedge between Christine and Dan, and she doesn't feel like the police are helping anymore.
She did say she felt like she was all on her own, that the police were no longer her friends. She just felt like they just kind of backed off of their whole stalking investigation. And those were her quote-unquote words. The police were no longer her friends or on her side anymore. The way it sounded, that she just didn't feel like they were taking it seriously anymore. Which makes me so angry. Because she did tell, she would say that, every morning when she would make her kids lunch, she would wonder if that would be the last time she'd do it.
Her family are looking on, powerless to help as she becomes paranoid and afraid.
And said, can I stop by and talk to you? Because I need to talk to you. And she came over and she was just visibly upset. And we sat down in the kitchen and she said, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm being stalked. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that I have a feeling that part of the defense is going to be she either participated with the stalker or created the stalking situation, or that she was involved with a sex ad and things like that. But she came over and told me, and like I said, just visibly shaken and upset, I'm being stalked. And at first I go, well, what does that mean? Someone just hanging out in front of your house or whatever? And then she got into a little bit and says that, and it's vicious, nasty, perverted stuff I'm getting, and I'm actually afraid this guy's going to hurt me. So it was obviously not something that she was participating in. And so I'm trying to get more information. She goes, I think it's this guy Anthony that I knew when I was 18. And I go, yeah, I remember Anthony. A couple of pictures of Anthony when he's been over to the house.
Yeah.
And he's wanting to get back together, and he's doing his stuff, and now he's sending me these really pornographic, nasty messages. And I go, well, have you told the police about this? She says, yes, I have filed a police report, and they're taking it seriously. But I wanted you to know about it too, so because I'm afraid, and I don't know what to do. And I go, well, if that's the case, we need to get you some protection, and I'll. We'll set you up with being able to use a firearm and do some things like that, so that you at least feel like you can protect yourself. Her birthday is November 24th.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what do you want for your birthday? And then what do you want for Christmas? And she says, well, what I really like is one of those really nice concealed carry purses.
Yeah.
She's also feeling alone in her marriage, according to her father.
She told me, she goes, and I think I pretty much decided I am going to proceed with a divorce from Dan. I go, oh, okay. So one of the things that really bothers me, said, is he just doesn't take this stalking thing seriously. It doesn't seem to bother him at all. I'm telling him that I'm afraid, and he's just blowing it off, and it's not bothering him, even though it appears that he's been threatened by this stalker too. It doesn't even faze him, and it doesn't bother him that I'm upset about it. So, and she said, we had marriage vows. He's supposed to be the one I can go to get help and everything. He's just blowing this off like it's no big deal.
Dan seemed to have been taking it seriously in his interview with the police. Maybe he's been putting on a brave face for his wife and children, trying to hide how much it's affecting him. But it's only been pushing Christine further away. And there's nothing Dan will regret more than letting this stalker drive him and his wife apart. December 14th, 2023. At just after midday, the Broomfield Police Department receives a 911 call from Dan Krug.
Hi there, my name is Dan Krug. I don't think this is an emergency, but this feels really weird. My wife isn't responding to text messages or phone calls.
Okay.
We've had threats against us. She was supposed to meet with Detective Martinez today, but I can't get a hold of him. Can I get a either someone in the house to check in with Martinez, or maybe both. Maybe a wellness check at the house.
Yeah, we can go check the house. What's the address?
She texted me like, I don't know, 3-ish hours ago, and I've asked her multiple questions since then, and she's not responding.
Oh, okay. What was going on when you talked to her about 3 hours ago? Was she okay? What was she having any medical things? Anything going on?
She asked me to pick up our daughter from school because she had to meet with Martinez. Martinez knows all of this. We have both been targeted by a stalker.
Okay.
Threats have been made against my life,
Okay.
and threatening to kidnap her, which is why I'm nervous that she's not answering me.
Not hearing anything from Christille for a few hours is enough to make him panic. It turns out for good reason.
Hello.
Oh, I was just, I'm their neighbor, and they called me. Like, can you go see if she'll answer the
Oh yeah, he sent us as well. So just next door. Okay.
Wait, well, you got this.
Alrighty, man. Appreciate it.
There's no answer at the front door when the police knock.
Oh. $151, send medical, and $110. I need a 4th entry. I got a female down in the garage. Broomfield Police! Broomfield Police! Oh, shit.
Christille is unresponsive, and the house is empty.
Guys, you see anything other than a fall type of wound?
Look at this. What's that? Gash on the chest.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. Yep, that's a stab wound on the chest.
Damn it.
She's been murdered. Dan has called Christille's mom in the meantime, and she's arrived on the scene with no idea what she's about to see.
Ma'am! I need you to come over here for a minute, okay? So we can work. I understand. I need you to come on over here, okay? Is her husband almost here?
Is he gone? Is she gone?
We want to give you guys all the information all together, okay? We don't want to have to repeat the information over and over for you guys to continue anything, so...
He said he was on.
And you're her mother, you said? Okay. Okay, just hang tight for a minute, okay? So sorry
He was in a mess, but...
Understand.
We want to make sure he gets here safely, okay? Where are you on I-25? They want us all here to tell us before they say anything. 15, 20 minutes. You're 15, 20 minutes away.
Okay.
The ambulance came and then pulled away.
Okay. Just hang tight for a second. I know I keep saying it, but just hold on for a little bit longer, okay?
Dan arrives a few minutes later. This is a family that's been torn apart, and it's clear the stalker had something to do with it. He's proven himself to be technologically savvy, being able to cloak his IP address and avoid police detection for so long. It would take someone who knows what he's doing to dodge Dan's security measures, or just someone who's been watching them for a long time.
Yeah, I don't know the backstory. Husband said there was a dude who's been stalking her and threatened to kidnap her. And Martinez was involved, and Martinez just said, hey, this is a big old... I don't know, dude. I don't know the history on that part. Martinez does, though, and he said he's coming in. So, like I told him, you can see if Butler needs photos with this big old house. Other than that, we're just kind of securing the scene and waiting for detectives, you know?
Yeah.
See what they need. I kicked that, yeah.
No,
that's interesting. Yeah. That is very interesting. Almost like dude might have stuck around from this way and...
I wonder if maybe the door was unlocked, that's how he got in.
And I came around and booted the front door. It turns out it wasn't locked. There's also a piece of masking tape over the ring camera. Almost like somebody approached from the side and taped it.
Okay.
And then maybe she opened the door for somebody.
It's like you hit her from behind while she's right here.
Yeah, that's exactly it. She falls there.
That's why there's a void. You rolled it over.
And then he stabs her afterwards. You were right in the heart.
Because there's not a whole lot of blood on her chest.
No, they definitely think that was after.
It's like the blood stopped
she was on her back when that occurred.
Yeah.
And that's why there's not a pool of blood.
It seems that Christille's fears have come true, despite all the measures she and Dan had taken to keep themselves safe.
And who has the ability to turn off the cameras? Who has the ability to go in the app and turn things off?
Christille, me, and God,
It's alright. It's alright, Dan.
and house phone.
House phone.
The stalker has evaded the police, and now he's managed to get around the security cameras too. He even seemed to know Dan's work schedule and when he'd be gone from the house.
Dan, when did you leave the house? Guess. Approximate.
8:20. It's on the camera.
You said 8:20, and you left in which vehicle?
Mine.
Which is a?
Black Monster.
Okay. 8:24 sound right?
Okay.
You left out of the garage?
Always. Was your car in the garage at the time? Yeah. She was rushing me at the door. I was late leaving. She told me I had to go because she had a meeting. She was rushing me, and I went. She was in the kitchen. She was in the kitchen.
How long were you supposed to be in the office today?
Was supposed to be there until 3, but she texted me asking me to pay. So I canceled or skipped my my CFO meeting. And then I left her for this.
And you couldn't get a hold of her. She sent you that text. And that's as much contact as you had with her today.
I panicked when the check marks weren't there.
Where Christille's mom says Dan wasn't taking the stalker seriously, Dan says it was the opposite, that Christille wasn't letting him.
What's your guys' interactions been like leading up to this?
I felt like she was keeping secrets.
Why?
She didn't tell me about Kickman. She keeps disappearing for hours. I told you, she can't keep secrets.
Kickman is his daughter's nickname for the stalker.
We call him Kickman.
Kickman? How come?
Doesn't deserve a name.
Yeah.
And said, Mommy's gonna kick his ass. So he's Kickman.
Do you think she was meeting with people? Meeting with one person or anything like that?
I asked if there was anyone. She said no.
So you said the cameras are on all the time?
Yeah.
Looks like about 8:15, a lot of them go off.
It takes Dan a long time to answer this question. Maybe he's struggling to understand how all the precautions he took could have failed him so badly.
The side yard, the signal gets weak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm buying a booster, but that one gets interrupted, but they don't turn off.
In the end, His answer doesn't satisfy.
That's the view.
About 8:15. It goes off like this. And then it comes back at...
They're all hardwired.
10.
I know you said that you don't think that there was somebody else.
She said.
Okay. Why do you keep asking that? I'm just trying to put everything together to kind of get a bigger picture, because you said she's been acting kind of weird lately and, being very secretive and withholding of information for you. So I'm just trying to understand, I guess, so we can backtrack what she's been doing this past month.
Do you need anything right now? Do you want some water or?
This is a nightmare. I just want to come down. I want to hold my kids. Let's just get through it.
Okay.
Dan is living out a nightmare. He last saw Chris Steele when he left for work at 8, and only 4 hours later, she was dead. But he's not the only one left devastated in this situation. Chris Steele's whole family are shaken to their core.
This isn't real. This isn't real yet. No, it's not real. No, it can't be. Anthony, was it really her stalker?
Let's kind of, if we can start with, just give me an insight of what your daughter's life looked like.
Her life was hell. We slept months and last year. Her husband and her were not on good terms. He could get... Dan is explosive. But I've never seen him, hurt her. He would hurt the kids, but, some people think the corporal punishment is okay with the kids. But he would hurt the kids. She was worried about that. She told me that her marriage was over in September. We had a chat about that. She didn't know how to leave, and she couldn't leave because she couldn't leave the kids alone with Dan. She didn't feel comfortable leaving them alone with him.
Dan and Chris Steele's marriage sounds worse than ever, and the stalker wasn't helping.
It wasn't a good situation in their marriage, and here in the last few months, she just loathed him. But she was like, no, she had to stay for the kids. And she could stay, and then this whole thing with Anthony, or this stalker situation came. She's been trying to deal with that. She has a really intensive job that's just, she works from home, but it's real intense. A lot of pressure, but she's like a type A. She just puts so much pressure on herself. She was separating her stuff in the house.
Okay. They were both still staying there? Okay.
She felt she had to stay.
Okay.
For the kids' sake. And I kept saying, well, why can't we find him? Certainly they can track his IP addresses. She goes, well, he keeps changing his emails and phone numbers and all this stuff. So she says they just can't track him down. They don't know where he is. Anyway, she was so scared of him. She really felt like it was him. She told me that, Dan was not doing her any favors. He says he would go in and say that she's making it all up in her head. And
so Dan was aware of the entire stalking going on.
But she felt like he just didn't really take it seriously.
Okay.
But I don't know, maybe he didn't take it seriously as she wanted him to. Was it really Anthony? Because we all kind of was wondering. Was it really Dan?
And what
made us think
what made you think that, or that he was capable of?
Well, Anthony I know how to do a third tier type of tracking, right? I mean, like layering of these emails and these IP addresses and that, and phone numbers. She paid to try to track those phone numbers, but they always ended up in a dead end of somebody else.
Okay. Did you ever talk to her about your concerns that maybe it wasn't actually Anthony?
Yeah, but my daughter could be explosive, and so I would try not to, she'd get angry pretty fast.
The police have never actually been able to pin down Anthony Holland as the stalker. This was the reason they weren't able to stop him. Now, that seems like a fatal mistake.
I would like to go back to one thing that you said, and that was that she was working so hard for this not to happen.
Yeah, she was taking all these self-defense classes. She was working with Detective Martinez, and her dad was talking to some detectives in Lafayette. They were trying to track this down. She paid to have the extra stuff to track the phone numbers, to try to track this Anthony, to try to find him. Because I guess you guys couldn't find Anthony. You couldn't locate him. Which just made me more and more suspicious of, was this really Anthony? But she kept saying, oh no, Mom, he's smart enough to do this. I go, okay.
Today, you had said, I believe you had said Dan called you?
Yeah, I have the record. He called me at noon and said that he couldn't get hold of Christelle, but Christelle was supposed to.
Can I see? Is there a call log?
Yeah, he told me at noon, right there.
12:09. And
he said that he couldn't get hold of Christelle, but he was really nervous. And, could I go? He was really, really upset. Could I go and see, check it out, and find out what was going on? And so I tried to call her. I have that log here. I called my son, and then I tried to call her.
Dan isn't close to his wife's mom. Christelle's parents are divorced, and her dad is remarried. She gets along well with both sides of her family, but Dan keeps to himself. On December 14th, however, like maybe he suspects just how grave the situation is, it's Christelle's mom he calls.
Dan doesn't normally call me.
Okay.
I mean, unless it's an emergency. But we talk. I mean, it's not like I never call Dan.
When you say he was panicked, what does that sound like to you?
Well, for him, he's always got a steady, cool voice. And this one sounded like he was panicked. He was nervous that something had happened to her.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's just because they've been on high alert with Anthony, this Anthony scare and threat.
Christelle's brother provides the police with some background that same day.
Some issues with Dan, like marital troubles and stuff like that. And just maybe, I don't know if you necessarily know anything more about that, but they just also just kind of mentioned you guys are kind of close, and just see if maybe some sort of insight on that at all.
Insight on their marriage?
Or just, was there issues going on? Were they having problems? Was there, kind of anything that was kind of...
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. She had shared with me that they had separated.
Okay.
But we're still living together a year ago.
A year ago?
Yeah.
Like a year ago, December?
Oh, I don't know.
Or
it was like back
approximately.
It was back in September that we had that talk. So.
And that they had been separated for a year.
Yeah, and they had been sleeping in the same bed. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Under the pressure of the stalker, their marriage was breaking apart, and now Christelle is forever out of reach. That stalker was using Anthony's name. Now that she's dead, exigent circumstances mean that the police have far less problems collecting his data and determining his location. Anthony Holland is in Utah, where he's been for the last few months.
Hello?
Hello, Anthony?
Yes.
How's it going? I'm Detective Martinez with the Broomfield Police. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. How you doing today?
Doing all right.
I just want to know how this all happened, because I haven't, I know a little bit, something about Christelle and her husband and stalking charge. I haven't been to Colorado since 2016, so it's like, I don't know how that can be possible, and that's all I know.
Okay. Yeah, so there was again, you're not in any sort of trouble, but we're just trying to piece this together because your name's been thrown around as somebody who had been here recently. So we're just trying to show that, in fact, you've been in Utah this whole time.
I've been in Idaho the whole time since, and then I just moved to Utah in February.
He's a server working at Texas Roadhouse while he studies cloud computing, and Christille hasn't even crossed his mind in years.
When's the last time you saw Christille?
Last time I saw her was like 2000 when we broke up.
Okay, all right. And then, so not yesterday, but Thursday. Do you remember this past Thursday?
What day did the cops come to my house? Friday or Thursday?
Thursday night, the 14th.
Yeah, Thursday night. That's when I went downtown. Yeah.
You went downtown? Where's downtown there?
Salt Lake.
Were you with anybody?
Yeah, I was with Miguel. Yeah, Thursday was when the other officer called me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he could vouch that I was here, can't he?
Right, but he was only there for a few minutes with you, right?
The cops showed up at my house Thursday night, so they know I was in Utah.
Right.
So you're thinking I drove from Utah to Colorado on Thursday night?
Well, I'm trying to show you that you weren't here Thursday morning.
Oh yeah, I wasn't there Thursday morning. I was taking a nap when the cops showed up. And they showed up like afternoon, like 2 in the afternoon. But I have Miguel's number right here. I also have the people I live with. Sure. They can confirm I was there Thursday morning too.
His sister has pictures of him taken at Halloween, the same day Dan was followed at work. He was 2 states away.
The pictures of Halloween show that he's here on the 31st.
They check with the rest of his family and his employers.
Between December 13th and 14th, do you guys remember Anthony being here?
Yeah, he didn't have any place he went. Meaning, did you do anything unusual as far as his schedule? No, he had the same normal schedule he always did.
But there was no random absence of time?
No.
To your knowledge, has Anthony made any trips back to Colorado this year?
No, not at all.
The only place he's been is
just Idaho.
His sisters.
Everyone agrees Anthony has not been to Colorado. The stalker wasn't him. So who was it? There's tension mounting in Dan's household that night. Christille's brother's wife and Dan have been arguing, particularly about the kids.
You want to make sure the kids are always safe, right?
Right.
So you don't want to...
Yeah, so they're going to stay in here and we're taking care of them.
Yes, and he can't be alone with the children.
But we understand that.
So we want to make sure you are okay being a part of that safety plan?
Yes, we are.
Dan ultimately signed something to this effect.
So what we're asking for right now is that your dad, he's going to be around a lot, he's probably going to be safe, but you guys can't be alone with him, just to make sure everybody's safe. And your dad's in agreement with that.
But he warns the family that they should be careful.
He said that he felt like we all shouldn't be talking to one another, that we shouldn't be sharing details about anything with regards to her murder or with regards to like the case, that we basically should stop talking to one another. He said that the detectives aren't to be trusted, that particularly you, Detective Martinez, is not to be trusted.
Christille had been feeling the same way about the cops, according to her stepmom.
She just said that it seemed after they brought her husband down in for an interview. After that interview, she said it felt like everybody just kind of deserted her, she said, or that she felt like she was on her own.
Okay.
So she felt, I don't know, and she even said, I think she even said she felt like Dan maybe sabotaged her during her interview.
Her lack of trust in the police was somehow wrapped up in her lack of trust in Dan. With her marriage on the rocks, this was maybe understandable. But the police aren't just going to give up the stalker angle now that they've cleared Anthony's name. Someone was sending those messages. That someone had an IP address, no matter how hard they tried to hide it. And when the police traced that IP address, it led finally and inevitably to just one place: the work computer of Daniel Krug. This is the missing piece of the puzzle. Christile's marriage was falling apart not just because of their arguments about the kids, but because she couldn't trust him anymore. In those final few days, she suspected the worst possible truth, that her stalker had been her husband all along. Her family had suspected this too.
Because I knew it upset her. But she knew when I was asking questions about, well, how late is this picture of Anthony? Are you sure it's Anthony? Because I just had suspicions that it might have been Dan.
My mom has always been like suspicious, and I just like don't know where that comes from.
Okay.
Can you elaborate on that? Like suspicious how or?
My mom?
Yeah.
Suspicious? I don't know, because she, like the difficulty finding Anthony. Like why is it so hard to find Anthony? Why can't either, cell phone records or IP stuff? So my mom was very frustrated with the inability to locate one person who is so frequently contacting my sister. Like, why is that such a difficult thing to do? So my mom had that frustration, and so I think her mind starts to wander towards like conspiracy type things, right? Of like, oh, maybe it's the husband, or maybe it's Dan, and I don't know. I don't see it there just because I don't know. Dan just seems so incapable of doing something like that to me.
Because I guess there was a threat against Dan, and the police came to Dan's work and escorted him away.
Okay.
And then there was, something that she said that, Dan didn't know about Anthony until he said that he didn't know anything about the threat of Anthony until the 1st of November. And I said, 1st of November? We talked the 1st of October, and I thought you said Dan was saying, oh, this is not a big deal. So there were just a couple of things like, well, I thought Dan knew already.
We all know that Dan's under suspicion. So just setting aside the culprit, my daughter was going to get divorced from Dan.
Okay.
She couldn't stand him. He was too volatile with the kids. And she told me that she was going to just live in the basement because she couldn't get enough proof that Dan was being volatile to the kids. I don't know, he did tell her that she needed to leave. She needed to get out of the house twice. And then Thanksgiving, she sent us a text that I guess you guys had interviewed him, and he basically threw her under the bus, is what she said. And so she texted both my son and me and said, Dan is no longer a friendly person, and you need to please be careful with what you say with him. And she says, our marriage is done, and I'm trying to get him to work this through, but I can't. I want full custody of the kids, but I can't prove that he's actually doing it. I mean, there were shoes thrown, there was, having problems, and Dan can get pretty violent when he gets angry, when he rages. So, and then he's just so damn manipulative. And so,
can you give me more insight on what you mean by that?
Well, he tries to make you feel that he's the victim and that you're wrong. And, there's almost sometimes he'll get really syrupy sweet, but you can see and feel underneath this kind of menacing type attitude.
Okay.
So it doesn't feel good, right? You can tell he's seething with anger.
Another key point emerges, that for all his precautions against this supposed stalker, he was careless with their security.
The security system was not on because my son asked, could he share, if they had the security system, couldn't they identify? Because my daughter had cameras everywhere, and she would never shut off security. She was so, at this point, kind of almost, she was terrorized. And she would never do that. Safety was number one for her. And she'd get after Dan because Dan was just being so lackadaisical in the security for them.
How else had the security cameras ended up switched off in that crucial 2-hour period?
They did that just a thing. They tried to get him to show up at her work. Yeah.
The new husband?
No, the stalker. Supposedly his husband is fairly tech savvy. They would know how to maybe hide emails and do dummy accounts and all that type of stuff.
Unless he'd done it deliberately. Unless this was all part of his plan.
Why? And the whole time, and the whole time, and the whole time, and the whole time, it just seemed odd. Did you kill her, Dad? Did you kill her? Who killed my daughter?
That same afternoon, after Christile's death, the cops sit down with him again. They want to know more about the couple's failing marriage and how the stalker fit in.
It hurt me that she didn't tell me about the stalker, but she brought me in right away once he sent her a picture of me. That was Thanksgiving, Halloween.
Okay.
So she told me the next day. I was definitely hurt and angry that she was keeping that as a secret.
So do you think she wanted to get a divorce? Or do you think is that why she shut you down? Like, we're not doing anything until this is over? When you kind of had your epiphany of it sounds like you feel like you were completely, written off by her, or that she had zero care for you anymore.
I wanted a divorce.
Okay.
I've loved her for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was hurting when I said that. What I wanted was her to say she cared about me. She was ready for a divorce. So we talked about, how do you divvy up the assets? We own 2 houses. On its face, that should be easy. We're both on both mortgages. That's a pain in the ass. So we were talking through, how do you start to do that? And so I would say it was as amicable as it could be for 2 people who may or may not have really wanted it.
Okay. But you were just in talking stages. There wasn't any paperwork. There wasn't anything going on. And with all the cameras around there now, are you ever doing any checking up on her, seeing if that's? Again, I would do that if I thought my husband were hiding things from me or being a little shady.
That always felt kind of creepy to me.
Okay, you never did that. Come on, curiosity.
Everybody peeks.
Okay.
Push notifications on the phone. Dear God.
Every
time someone walks their dog down the side of the house, we're right next to the mailboxes every time the mailman comes. So there's so much noise that no.
Okay.
I don't monitor because there's noise.
Okay.
And my job consumes enough of my day. I don't have time to stew.
Okay. You've never seen her do it, or you don't know what it is. You guys just don't share things like that.
She has my passwords. I don't have this one. I have her old phone because we were in a better place. But since she got the new one, I have no idea.
Okay. So, who do you think killed her?
I think it's Kickman. I think it's Anthony.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's the first time anyone said that sentence.
I'm sorry to. Well, that's what happened, and that's why we're taking this so seriously.
I think it was Kickman. Anthony. If not him, I have no other suggestion.
What if I told you that we had already spoken with Anthony and there's no way that he was in town today?
And I'm terrified to bring my children.
What are you terrified of?
If it wasn't him, who was it? I replaced all of our locks after the garage intruder. I'll do it again. I got the cameras. I don't know who else.
They're testing his reactions. When they ask him for another suspect, he has no other ideas. But the cops do.
Remember how we talked, when I submit my legal paperwork, it takes a while.
Yeah.
But because somebody was murdered today, we have the ability to tell them that, and then they will generally provide us with information immediately. That's what exigent circumstances means.
Okay.
Because we're trying to find the killer.
So some of that information that we've been able to receive today is a little bit, I don't know, concerning, I guess. The Gmail account that, and you can speak more specifically.
And that text now number we were talking about, the number that he initially texted Chris Steele from. The Gmail account, the Kickman account that you guys initially received with the photo of you in it, and the phone number, those originated through their IP addresses at your office.
Doesn't make any sense. Well, he took the photo of me at my office.
Right, but both of those accounts originated from IP addresses that list back to your office.
None of this makes any sense.
And also, let's add on top of that the fact that there's, as far as we know right now, there's no physical way that Kickman could have been involved in this based on where he's at right now. So, you know, the mystery continues, and
things are certainly pointing in one direction right now.
Daniel denies it all.
maybe this started out the way that it was reported, and then maybe it turned into something different.
Because that would suggest that I would put my children through this.
You're afraid to lose time with them if you get the divorce.
Provide us a different explanation then. We know it's not Kickman. If you were watching these facts unfold in front of you in a movie, what would you say happened?
There has to be someone else.
That was able to turn off the cameras, that was able to access a password protected system to turn off cameras, that was able to use your IP address from your work to create accounts, to send messages and photos, to act as a stalking suspect. Well, tell me. Help me make sense of it.
And show you the number of people who joined in who are not state employees, who either showed up in the room or accessed us online. I don't have a narrative or a story that I can offer you. Because I thought we were on the same side.
We are on the same side.
Human nature, there are going to be volatile, heated, whatever word you want to use, moments in a relationship where you love someone and you don't feel it back. And I haven't heard a lot of that from you, although it sure sounds like she was accusing you of everything and not giving you any love or support or even making you feel like she cared. So there has to be more to your story even with her. I don't know. Did she tell you last night that she's done? She's moving out? That she has a boyfriend? Did you guys get in an argument?
Last night was calm.
The investigators are trying to press him into a corner. They want a confession.
I'd like to know what happened this morning. I'd like to know what caused you to get so upset to hurt your wife, because I believe that's what happened. Because there's no other logical explanation.
I want to know what happened. Did she get shot? Where was she in the house? Who said they were doing CPR in the garage? That's all I know. So tell me. Did she fight? Did she get shots on? Where is she in the house?
We haven't been there to know. And there's only one person in this room that can tell us. Because Detective King Sullivan and I have been here with you.
I think you know the answer to all those questions.
And Dan doesn't give them one. He continues to play the grieving husband, righteously demanding justice.
Find him. I don't care if you capture him. I don't care if you kill him. Find him. I don't believe in the death penalty. I don't know what I would testify when you convict him. I don't know. As a father, don't just assume it's me. Keep looking. Thank you.
But Dan is adept at deception, as the investigators go on to learn. Over the next 2 days, they spend hours poring over bank statements, CCTV footage, and phone records. A timeline begins to emerge. On April 10, 2023, Dan bought a burner phone at Walmart. On October 2nd, a message was sent from that phone to Christille, the first message from her so-called stalker. The IP address was a public library in Broomfield.
A case that it's complicated, but the short version is there's somebody using the internet here.
Okay.
To perpetrate some of this crime, and we're trying to prove that the person who's perpetrating the crime with that internet connection is our suspect.
On the same day, that same burner phone messaged Dan's own number saying, "Test." He replied, "Yeah." He was checking that messages were going through and that Christille would receive them. The trail continues throughout November. Each one of the threatening texts and emails was sent from an IP address associated with Dan, including his work computer. That photograph taken of Dan outside his work? It was taken with the front-facing camera, the phone propped on another car. Then on December 13th, he made a Google search. How hard for head trauma to go unconscious? Christille, when she was found the next day, had massive blunt force trauma to her head. Christille was last seen on neighbors' security cameras at 7:57 a.m. Her house's security system went dark at 8:15. 4 minutes later, 2 text messages were recorded on her phone, both unsent, one to the detective handling her stalker case and one to her brother. They both read that she had been having an affair, framing Anthony, and trying to push Dan to suicide. They were written to suggest that she'd staged the whole thing herself, Gone Girl fashion, and that maybe this mysterious boyfriend, the one with whom she was apparently having an affair, had killed her to escape detection. It's a plot right out of a crime thriller. But here on the Decoder, this is real life, and in real life, Dan was staging these texts himself. On his way to work, just before 9 a.m., he received a text from Christille's phone, but records showed that her screen was inactive, meaning the text was pre-scheduled, and she was never heard from again. But looking at the evidence, one possible theory emerges. Perhaps on the morning of her murder, Crystal finally realized the truth, that the stalker she had feared for months was actually her husband. If that moment came, the stakes for Dan would have been higher than ever. Exposed, with his deception about to unravel, he may have felt he had no choice but to silence her permanently. Christille was hit over the head with a blunt object multiple times and then stabbed in the heart. The police have not recovered the murder weapon. They believe Dan was lying in wait in the garage after she dropped the kids off at school. She was carrying her gun, but she never thought she'd need to use it against the man she'd shared her life with. On December 16th, the cops come for Dan.
Hands on your face! Hands on your face! Hands on your face! Hands on your face! Your hands on your face!
You want to toss, make sure we're good on the car?
You call custody?
Yep.
Look at this.
What's that?
That's will and testament.
Is it?
No. Some kid's gonna fucking off himself or some shit.
Is there a confession in there?
Hey Dan, do you want me to tell your kids that you killed their mother, or do you want somebody else to? Okay.
Dan continues to deny everything.
The police department is welcome to record this part. I have zero trust and zero confidence in the Broomfield Police Department.
He cast the net wide, blaming Christille's family for his predicament.
And I don't care that this is recorded. They are perpetuating multi-generational toxicity and dysfunction. Don't say anything else. It's bad enough that they now have recorded that I think that the Grimsroots are intentionally trying to destroy me. And I have no doubt that all of these transcripts are being provided to the attorneys and new motions are being filed as we speak. But it fits the facts. They wanted me homeless. They want me destitute. And the next thing they're going to do, and I know it's coming, and it will happen probably the day the house closes, they'll file a new motion so I can't even get that money. Because everything that they've done has been to punish me based on horrible accusations. They think I actually did this to Christelle.
He extends this to the protection order he signed regarding his children.
They required me to sign mine. And again, I had absolutely no choice, because if I didn't sign it, I couldn't stay at the house, and I had literally nowhere else to go.
They gave you that right away?
Yeah, they gave me that the night Christelle died. Sign this form that you're not allowed to be around your children unsupervised. If you don't sign it, you're not allowed to be here.
But far from plotting his downfall, Christelle's family are devastated by this news, and they're asking one simple question. How did the police let it get this far?
So he's being arrested as a suspect.
Yes.
Are there other suspects?
No.
No other suspects. And Anthony?
He was verified in Utah.
When was that?
All day yesterday. Or all day Thursday.
All day Thursday. Why is Anthony... When was Anthony first contacted?
So...
Person to person. Like in person.
In person?
Yeah.
Was yesterday around midday.
Why did it take so long to find him?
We found him on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thursday. So our days are running together.
Yeah.
It was Thursday afternoon.
How come he wasn't found in like October or November?
Because the entire time, since I first interviewed Dan back on November 16th, Anthony wasn't much of a suspect of mine, as much as Dan was. But I was waiting for particular evidence to come in, and we didn't have the time framing to get there yet.
So Dan's been the primary suspect since November.
I made the best decisions I could for the case at hand.
So you made the decision to not share that it wasn't Anthony and not share that you believe that Dan is the suspect of harassing her. Why make that decision? I'm sorry.
I know. I'm here to answer your
questions. And I know that's your job, and I know you've been on millions of cases, and I know that you've probably seen lots of things, and like you work statistically on cases, and you have intuition on people, and I get that. But why make that decision to withhold that information from her?
Because I didn't have enough information to actually come forward.
So it takes her being killed, then you get the information, and it's too late.
In this case, unfortunately, didn't give us the information we needed. Some of these companies didn't comply with my requests and demands for records for weeks.
The cops had little more than suspicion to go on until Christelle's death. Suspicions that weren't enough to accuse her husband. And they're also asking why. Why would Dan go to such lengths before murdering his target? A possible answer emerges as the investigators prepare for trial. When they run Dan's name through court databases, they discover a past temporary restraining order against him dating back to 2001. At the time, he was in college in Washington, D.C., and the one filing the order was his ex-girlfriend.
He was never physically violent with me. I don't even really remember him ever raising his voice. So there was nothing to alarm me that this was coming. And sorry, I'm a little nervous.
You're doing really well.
Yeah. So, I think it was, like I said, a couple months I broke up with him a couple months into my freshman year. He was pretty emotional. I would say sort of desperation would maybe be a word I would use to describe after the breakup of, please don't do this. So I started to get messages, and I'm not sure if this is in the police report. I may not have reported this because this person did turn out to be real, but I started to get messages from his roommate, and that person's name is Tom, on AOL Instant Messenger. And I know Tom is real because they were roommates. If I called him, Tom would sometimes pick up the phone. They had a joint room and a joint phone. And Tom ended up being Dan, right? So all these people I'm going to tell you about end up being Dan Krug, not Tom. Yeah, even though Tom is a real person, he was not sending me these messages. So Tom, his role, I would say, was sort of to gain sympathy from me for Dan and continue to encourage me to communicate with Dan. So I would get messages like, Dan had a really bad day, and I'm not being like, I'm not sure that these are verbatim, right? But I'm like, from what I remember, it was messages to encourage me to either talk to Dan, reach out to Dan, or say, you know, like, he's having a bad day, can you connect with him, kind of thing. The other thing that, if I recall correctly, there was perhaps some indication that he was suicidal or was, because of the breakup, just really not doing well. So this, you know, made me keep communication up with Dan. So I was feeding him information.
Dan pretending to be one different person was bad enough when he was young and stupid and wanted his girlfriend back. What's more frightening is how it escalated. One of the first things I remember is a group of my friends from our dorm had met, I don't even know how, some cadets from the Air Force Academy. Sure. And so we all went to, I think we went to a movie, something super innocuous, and there was like a group of us. I must have told Dan about that, and I think it was 2 or 3 days later, or the next day, I don't know, but I got a message from someone named Nick Clark. That's the name I recall. And Nick basically said, I'm a cadet at the Air Force Academy. I know you went out with these people. I don't know if he named them specifically, but I know you went out with these people, and I want you to know that he came back, or these people came back and said that you slept with him. And so now there's this rumor going around the whole academy that you're an easy target, kind of thing. So of course this is really alarming to me, not true, all that sort of thing. So myself and my friends go to the dorm room of these people that we had met from the Cadet Air Force Academy, and we confront them, and, you know, they're like, what are you talking about? This is, you know, complete BS. So they started to also ask questions like, you know, or they immediately questioned if this person really was a cadet. It was shortly after that I started to get these really disturbing phone calls. And so again, I had a landline too in my room that I think was part of a central campus phone system, so the last 4 digits were unique to my room. Mm-hmm. And the phone calls were, someone had bought a voice distortion, like the really deep, scary kind of voice machine that I guess you can speak into, and I don't know what these look like, but you could tell that's what I was hearing. We've had like a forensic psychologist or some sort of a psychological kind of reading sort of professional look at all these emails, and it's Dan, is what they said. And I said, and they said that there was a specific name for this. I think I forgot to tell you this, but they said there was a specific name for this kind of stalking, and it usually was like a first love situation and then a heartbreak. And I don't remember what the name was, but they had, you know, some kind of psychology to back this up. Armed with this information, she got a temporary restraining order and the contact stopped. She never heard from Dan or anyone Dan was pretending to be again. The reason? In the summer of 2001, he met Christelle. He had a new obsession. And as Christelle began to drift away from him, he panicked. He wanted to keep her by any means possible, and Anthony Holland was the perfect scapegoat. But this fictional stalker was just driving her further away. She was heading towards divorce and full custody of their children. When she began to suspect him, he planned out her death. If he couldn't have her, no one could. In April 2025, Dan was found guilty of first-degree murder, stalking, and criminal impersonation.
Informed me that you all have reached a verdict.
The consequences are unavoidable now.
Daniel Krug knows that.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the first degree.
Not even a flinch.
His defense team points to a lack of physical evidence, including DNA and blood on his clothing. But the digital evidence sways the jury.
Guilty of count number 2, stalking, extreme emotional distress. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of count number 4, criminal impersonation.
He's sentenced to life without parole. Meanwhile, Christiel's family continues to ask the question, could this horrible fate have been prevented?
There's no amount of justice that can bring her back. But it is a relief to know that the person who thought he was going to get away with it, with this convoluted alibi picture and trying to blame it on somebody else, that didn't happen.
The courtroom was filled with family and friends of Christiel's, many of them providing witness impact statements, reminding the court that Christiel's death has lasting effects on all their lives. Daniel Krug stared straight ahead, not moving, but hearing every word that was said.
He wanted to control her. He always wanted to control her. He wanted to continue to control her even after she no longer wanted to be with him. I don't use the word depravity very often, and I certainly don't use it lightly. But his actions in this case are an example of depravity.
Now Christiel's family can begin to heal and to honor the legacy of love that she left behind.
Well, now that this point is here, again, a certain burden is lifted from you, but you're still so emotionally involved in it that I think it's going to take a long time for everyone here to regain a semblance of normalcy in our lives again.
A GoFundMe has been set up for her children. Waller County, Texas, 2023. Less than 2 weeks after New Year's, the local police department received a chilling phone call.
Waller County 911.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Rodney Dykes. I need an ambulance and police at 2060 College Boulevard.
Okay, what's going on?
I don't know everything, but my son's wife is dead.
Jared James Dykes and Angie Diaz were both 21. They'd gotten married in October 2022, less than 3 months earlier. And in their photos, they were all smiles, excited to begin a life together. But that was then. This was now.
No, she's down and there's no head on her body.
The couple lived in a house on Jared's parents' property. In the afternoon of January 11th, his parents had gone over to the house to check on Angie. What they found was something no one should ever have to see, and certainly never have to go through. Angie was dead on the floor, and her head had been cut off. Terrified that such a horrific crime had occurred so close to home, the Dykes called the police, and when the police arrived, the carefully put together image of a perfect relationship began to fall apart. Jared and Angie's new marriage had ended in murder, and it was Jared's parents who discovered the body. What had gone so catastrophically wrong? So was it Jared? And if it was, then why? Join us on the Decoder as we dive into the exclusive footage that documents this tragic crime, the murder of Angie Diaz.
The person accused of killing her is her own husband.
Gruesome scene at best.
The two had only been married a few months.
Many describing her as a young and caring woman who was always smiling. Co-workers say she'll be dearly missed.
Today, new surveillance video is coming to light showing what Dykes was doing the day that his wife's body was found.
The family tells me they're so grateful for the community's support and outpouring of love. They say they hope to get her body back to Nicaragua, where she will be laid to rest.
And tonight, it's where those who knew her best gathered for a somber remembrance.
In the center is Angie Diaz's bike, which she would ride each day from her house to the meat market where she worked. Danny Diaz says this is the worst thing that could happen to a mother.
This case takes us to the rural outskirts of Magnolia, Texas. Named for the beautiful magnolia trees in the area, it's 45 miles northwest of Houston, and it was a dry city until 2011, when the sale of alcohol was made legal. As a small, relatively peaceful place, any violent crime would rock the community to its core, and the Dykuses never expected to be at the heart of a horrifying turn of events. When Rodney and Lynn Dykus called the police, it didn't take them long to arrive. They'd been to the Dykus property before, and they knew the family well. Rodney, Lynn, and their sons Wayne and Jared. Wayne was 25, and Jared was 21. But none of their previous dealings with the family could prepare the first responders for what they'd find in the small property around the back of the house.
I could see into the house, the front door was open. There looked to be like a towel on the floor and pink socks from what I could originally see. As I began to step up the steps, I could see underneath the towel there looked like blood.
The medical first responder hesitated on the scene, not wanting to contaminate a possible crime scene.
Because we had no information, didn't know what had happened. Had she committed suicide with a shotgun? What we were walking into. There was a desk immediately to the right of me when I walked in the door. Looked like it had a computer on it, and as I looked around the desk, I could see her feet. Stepped in further, and I could see the rest of the body, and then I realized the patient did not have a head.
The paramedics backed off. This wasn't a patient. This was a dead body, and the house was indeed a crime scene. So now it was the cops' turn.
She was just decapitated. She's got stab wounds to her back. Her head's in the bathtub.
The floor of the main room was covered in blood. Angie's body lay there headless, surrounded by cigarette butts and blood-stained clothes. The murder weapon, a blood-stained knife, also lay by her body, and the police followed bloody footprints from the bedroom into the bathroom, where they found the most gruesome sight of all, Angie's cut-off head in the bathtub. Angie's husband, 21-year-old Jared, was on the scene, and the cops took him into custody immediately. There seemed no question he was in some way involved in his wife's death. At the very least, he knew about it, according to his mom.
He told me it happened this morning.
Who told you?
Jared.
Okay.
And he has been acting really strange lately.
Strange behavior didn't necessarily add up to a murder, but it wasn't a good sign. They asked Jared's brother, Wayne, about Angie.
Wayne, can we visit for a second? I got a question when you got time. Miss Angie, do you know what her last name was before she and your brother got married?
What's Angie's last name? Do you know? Her maiden last name. I don't know.
Okay. How about a date of birth?
Here's her phone.
Here, let me see.
Let me.
It's all
go
in
ahead.
Spanish, so I don't know.
Yeah. I don't want to touch this either here. So, normal fingerprints on it.
Okay.
Anyways.
That's all you know about her?
Yeah, I just know she worked over there. I know she was not
Where'd
here.
she work?
Chepis Meat Market.
The Cheppies?
That's where they met, yeah. I know she's here,
Did she still work at Cheppies?
Yeah. I know she's not really a legal citizen, I'm just saying.
I don't care.
No, I don't care either. I mean,
okay.
She's family, man.
Okay.
This questioning disturbed the family.
Are we all suspects?
No, ma'am. This is just standard.
Oh, this is just so nothing gets out, because we've already had somebody pull up here.
Yes, ma'am.
You've already got people pulling up that have already heard about it. So that's what we're just trying to prevent anything else from getting out so we can do a proper investigation.
They weren't suspects, not the way Jared was, sitting in the back of the police cruiser with his hands cuffed. He knew the cop who came to talk to him already.
Jared, would you mind giving me the passcode to your phone? It's supposed to be a 6-digit code.
For now, they just needed procedural details, like Angie's date of birth and an ID for her body. And these cops, who knew the Dykuses so well, were still shell-shocked by what they'd found.
But when I heard possible VOA at Kilo 60 Colo, I thought it was
this guy does like
the brother that's sitting up front of the carport. I just figured he'd OD. Yeah, I didn't think this other one would be involved.
Jared's older brother, Wayne, had a history of using meth. This was why he'd had brushes with law enforcement in the past, starting in 2018 when he was just 20. But it wasn't Wayne sitting in the back of the police cruiser today. It was Jared, who was barely old enough to drink. Born in 2001, Jared had lived in the Houston area all his life. He'd attended Waller High School, where he'd played football. As the cops' comments showed, he seemed to be an ordinary kid. He was responsible, and he seemed to care deeply about his troubled older brother. Jared worked as an electrician, and apparently Wayne had once stolen some copper wire from him. Jared called the police on him, but later he seemed to regret doing so. It was clear Wayne's drug use caused strain in the family, and if they expected anyone to do something drastic, it would have been Wayne, not Jared, who'd met Angie Diaz purely by accident at the Chepe's Meat Market in 2022 where she worked, a chance meeting that seemed like fate. Angie was born in October 2001 in Nicaragua. Her biological mom was a single mother, raising Angie and her siblings alone and having to work to support them. At times, she would leave Angie and her other kids with her sister while she worked in Costa Rica, sending money back home.
I arrived. Well, we came back from Costa Rica. We return every few months to see our children. We work, and then we go back again.
She would go and come back months at a time and come back to see her kids.
She was a dedicated mother, and she passed that dedicated, hard-working attitude on to Angie. Angie was an ambitious young woman with an academic mindset. She studied accounting at the National Autonomous University of Nicaragua at León while living with her adoptive mother. Her biological mother by this point had gone to the U.S. to work, leaving her kids behind for a more stable existence. But when Angie was 18, her aunt, almost her adoptive mother by this point, was diagnosed with cancer, and her biological mom paid to bring her and her brothers across the Mexican border into the U.S. as undocumented immigrants. She arrived in Texas and took a job as a cashier at the meat market while also promoting her skills as a personal trainer on her social media. She seemed to be happy in her life and excited to see where it would go while sending money back for her aunt's cancer treatments. She shared posts in Spanish that said things like, "Celebrate your own victories because no one else understands what it took for you to achieve them." Angie's mother was wary of her ambition.
I was living in an apartment with them, the same place I've always lived. I went to pick her up because that's where they handed her over to me, the person who brought her. Then we lived in Houston. And what worried her the most was that she came with dreams. She immediately wanted to work. She wanted us to start working right away to pay things off, to handle everything. But I told her to have patience and to take her time. I was working and I told her that God would provide work, that things would come in time, but we only had one car and that made things difficult.
But Angie was adamant. She wasn't going to work the cash desk for long. No, Angie had ambitions and a bright future. She figured Jared into this future as soon as she met him. As a former football player, he came across as exciting and impressive, and she fell head over heels for him. Their social media posts together were full of devotion. They got married in October 2022, around the time of Angie's 21st birthday. It was a whirlwind romance. According to one of Angie's closest friends, she'd previously been dating a man called Jose and had been planning to marry him in the U.S.
Does she know what happened with that? Can she tell us what that relationship?
He says, "Can you let me know? Can you tell me? What is the relationship like?"
Well, what she told me was that yes, everything was fine, but in the end, she was going to marry her former boyfriend.
She said everything was good, and she was gonna get married to the ex below.
Well, I told her that afterwards I would help her with the preparations and everything. Then suddenly she said she wasn't going to get married anymore. And suddenly we understand what happened because she is no longer going to comply.
She said that she told her and that she was going to help her out with the decoration and so forth and this and that to help her out. And then all of a sudden she told her she was not going to get married.
After she said she wasn't going to get married, she gave a reason.
Yes, she told me, and I asked her, but why? If she was so happy that she was going to get married, and she told me no, that the boyfriend had changed, he had become very distant, he wasn't paying attention to her, and well, I advised her a lot because I'm a bit older than her. So I advised her and told her that if she didn't feel good with him, it would be better to end the relationship. Because why would she marry him if they no longer understood each other?
When Jose's personality had changed towards Angie, she got cold feet and broke off the engagement. This was around the same time that she met Jared. Jared, the All-American varsity football player, the pinnacle of her ambitions in Texas.
When did you meet Jared?
I don't know exactly when, but, well, I don't know the exact day, but I know they had already been talking for months.
She don't know exactly when, but
He would bring her roses and little gifts. Since we didn't see each other very often, whenever we did, we'd catch up on everything. She'd tell me about her job, and I'd tell her about mine. She would always say he was really sweet to her. She even showed me once when he brought her roses to work. And I thought, oh, how sweet. Everything seemed so perfect in the beginning.
she said everything at the beginning was real nice. She showed her a picture where he had bought flowers. And that's when Angie told her that she was going to get married.
Angie and her mother weren't on such good terms by this stage, maybe because of the conflicts between what Angie wanted to achieve and what her mother thought was possible. Angie was living with her aunt in Waller instead of with her mom in Houston.
Did Angie tell her about getting married to Jared?
La pregunta es, Angie le dijo que se iba a casar. Never.
Even if the two weren't close, it seemed strange that Angie wouldn't share her marriage with her mom. After all, she'd come to the U.S. to be with her, as well as to earn money and make a life there. Perhaps she wanted to keep her new life separate from her old one, believing it would be so much better, a fresh start. But the couple's idyllic posts on social media hid a darker side to their relationship.
What time of year was it?
Maybe a month or two after they started dating? No. Actually, they had probably been together for more than 6 months as a couple. Then she had an accident, and they wanted to deport her. I imagine they rushed their wedding. I told her that it would be better for them to take their time, to really get to know each other, because rushing into something like that wasn't right. I advised her to set boundaries with him, to make sure he respected her, and not to take things lightly. I had seen many similar cases with other friends when I lived there, women who ended up suffering abuse and mistreatment. That's why I gave her advice, because I wanted the best for her.
She's saying she had an accident, and she believes that they were trying to deport her, and that was one of the reasons why they got married quickly.
A rapid marriage could be a sign of true love or a hastily made mistake. Angie was desperate to stay in the U.S., where she was building a life for herself. She had friends, family, and a job here now. She couldn't just leave, and Jared represented the ideal way to stay. Her uncle, who she briefly lived with, advised against making any rash decisions.
One thing I clarified with her is that you doing it for feeling or for documents, okay? I'm being straight up with both of you. And I told her, because I don't want you to get married because of documents or just to legalize yourself. Because that's not gonna be any good for you. It's not gonna work. Do it because they're feeling, because you love him and he loves you back. No, we're doing it good for feeling. I love him a lot, and he loves me.
She said she loved Jared, that her marriage was a real marriage and she wasn't rushing into anything. Her uncle agreed to be a witness, and they got married. When Angie introduced Jared to her friends, all of whom were Spanish-speaking, it didn't go so well.
There were little things that maybe at the time I didn't really notice. But looking back now, analyzing everything and talking with my husband that day, I started to see them. That night, I bought some beers to share, and he was drinking. I noticed that he would get irritated because we were all Hispanic, and he only spoke English. He seemed frustrated that he couldn't understand us, and I could see that she would get nervous, constantly translating for him.
They gave him the nickname Rojo, which means red in Spanish, because of his red hair. He couldn't or wouldn't engage in their communication, and sometimes he would leave these gatherings without a word of warning, irritated he couldn't understand. He felt alienated from his wife and her friends.
After she got married?
Yes.
After she got married, they became very distant.
It was not only Angie's friends, but her boss too, who noticed how her behavior changed after she got married.
It feels like a dream, a nightmare. Ruth Almendares, who worked with Diaz, says she considered Angie to be like a daughter, adding that it was here where she met her husband, Jared Dykes. It wasn't until Angie got married that several co-workers noticed she started to seem unhappy.
She became more withdrawn and nervous at work in the meat market, and Jared came to the counter looking for her constantly. Then, on January 10th, the day before Angie's murder, she came into work, and her boss immediately knew that something was up.
So I asked. They told me, look, talk to Angie.
And then Tuesday.
When I got there on Tuesday, I asked, what happened with Angie? But at first I thought they were going to bring up some kind of work-related issue. Then they told me, no.
She said that her brother had told her, you need to talk to Angie. And she was thinking that she might have got a complaint from her.
Angie doesn't look well. Something's wrong with her. She came in on Tuesday, sometime between 1 and 1:30.
Angie didn't look right, didn't seem right. She went and spoke and hung out with Angie, and they spoke. That's what she noticed, the bruising.
Angie had come into work with a bruise on her shoulder, and it didn't seem to be from a random accident. No, she told another coworker something startling that same day.
So I took the opportunity to stay with her for a while and asked, hey, what's wrong? What happened to you? There was another coworker in the kitchen, Erica.
Erica was there.
And that's when she told us she was going to separate from him.
She told her and Erica that she was going to separate.
She told both of us that she was leaving him and that she would never get married again. I asked her, was it really that bad? Has it been that terrible for you? Why? That's when I got closer, lifted her shirt a little and told her, you can't let this keep happening.
And that's when she got close and the floating to the side.
But she didn't just infer that Jared had hit her.
She told me more things that same day, but after that, I went home and we didn't talk again. We were supposed to go out for coffee on Friday because she didn't work that day. She had the afternoon off. She told me she wanted to talk to me because at work, at the register, she couldn't say much. There were always people around. That was Tuesday afternoon when she told me this. And you know, it's a shame that at the register there are no microphones, just cameras. We checked the footage and you can see us talking, but you can't hear what she told me. I had wanted that recording as proof of what she said. When we saw the bruises, we asked her, what happened to you? She said they had been arguing all night. That's why she looked so bad on Monday.
She checked the video footage where they were talking, but there was no audio, so she was trying to get the audio and the video and bring it to you.
Does she know how Angie got that bruise?
When you saw those bruises, did Angie tell you how that happened to her?
She said they had been arguing all night. And that was the reason she looked really bad on Monday, because that was Sunday. She went to the movies on Monday. She looked bad because she hadn't slept all night and hadn't been allowed to sleep.
They had been arguing on Sunday night, and she got no sleep. She said she was taking a shower, and they'd been arguing. And then when she got out of the shower, she was assaulted by the husband.
And for what reason? Did he say he hit her?
Who?
The husband. Why?
Supposedly, she had gone out with her aunt on Sunday.
Because she had gone out with her aunt, and he didn't want her to go with anybody, not even her aunt.
This seemed to be a breaking point for Angie and the supposedly happy couple.
She said she wasn't going to live the way he wanted her to live. And the reason again, because she had gone out with her aunt. And then she said, well, she had told her that she was going to separate. She wasn't going to live the way she was living.
So she told him that she wanted to separate him, or she just told? So she didn't technically tell him that she was moving out. She told him she wasn't going to live like that and told her, I'm going to leave him.
But the real question is, did she tell her husband for sure?
Yes.
She said yes, she told her husband also.
Jared was in a volatile place going into 2023. In November, he'd been arrested for driving while intoxicated. The police had been called on him because he was acting aggressively towards people working in a local Whataburger restaurant. When the police arrived, he refused to calm down, and he was taken into custody. He punched windows and had to be placed in a restraint chair so the police could take a blood sample for DNA. In January 2023, he was out on bond for this crime, and his erratic behavior hadn't stopped. Angie didn't tell Jared's mom, Lynn, that she was scared of Jared, but her behavior said otherwise.
Also, the last week, he's been wanting to stay in the house.
With y'all?
Yes, and not out there with her. And he asked if they could move back in there. So I thought that was odd. After he had just, spent all the money to fix it up. I don't understand why he didn't want to stay there anymore. It was all very strange. It's been like a week.
Angie had requested that Jared stop sleeping in the same house as her. This wasn't the request of a couple living in domestic bliss. No, something was seriously wrong between the two of them. Just before midnight on January 8th, 3 days before Angie's murder, the Waller County Police Department received a strange call.
Waller County 911.
Yes, this is Jared Dykes.
Hello?
Yes.
Waller County, go ahead.
I did a little bit of drugs and I need help. I'm at Cisco Call Boulevard.
Okay, and what's the problem?
I just don't feel well.
Okay, and you said you took drugs?
No, ma'am. I'm completely sorry. I don't know why I called.
Okay, but do you need an ambulance or no? Are you good?
I need an ambulance.
The dispatcher sent paramedics to his location, but a few minutes later he called again, saying the same thing.
I did some drugs yesterday and I don't feel well. And I didn't do any drugs. I don't know. I'm sorry.
When the paramedics got to him, they took him into hospital. He'd been using methamphetamine, his older brother's drug of choice. This devastated his parents.
He kept saying that he was on meth. And then you would start grilling him about it, and then he would say, I'm not on meth. I just told you that. But we had some experience with meth use, me and the wife. Not personal experience, but we had some experience going through family members on meth and dealing with them in the past. And it's horrible. It's awful. You and I've had this conversation before.
That was your other son.
That was my other son. And when Jared told us a couple of days ago that he was using meth now, that he had gone and gotten meth, and that's what was wrong with him, it just broke my heart because that's the son that didn't do that stuff. Okay, he wasn't a perfect kid. He had some problems with alcohol. Not problems with alcohol, but when he would go out with his friends or something, that was a problem because he would drink too much.
Right.
But on a day-to-day basis, he didn't drink. I mean, when he had to work, he didn't mess around. He wasn't. But when he was off, the party was on. It was okay to party.
Where Angie was during all of this wasn't clear, but the night of this 911 call was the same night she said he'd hit her, the Sunday before her death. Had he been acting under the influence of substances? And was it those same substances that would drive him to kill his 21-year-old wife? On January 11th, Jared had returned from work at around 4 in the morning. He went into his house around the back of his parents' property, and they didn't see him again until 12:30 p.m. that day. When he did come back to their house, his mom, Lynn, heard an unfamiliar phone ringing.
And we noticed that he had a phone that didn't look right. And what I mean by that is it didn't look like it was his phone. So we started questioning him about the phone. We didn't. Lynn started questioning him about the phone. And she finally got him to pull his phone out of his pocket, his front pant pocket. And it wasn't his phone. And she's like, whose phone is that? That's not your phone. I have multiple phones.
But she knew that wasn't true, so she asked to see it. When he brought it out, she found that the phone's language was in Spanish.
She said, that looks like Angie's. And that's when we jumped up and I said, oh my God, what's going on? And we ran out there. That's when I called 911.
Immediately, she knew it had to be Angie's. Angie usually kept her phone with her, and worried by their son's erratic behavior, Lynn and Rodney went over to the house to check on her.
I
know this part is difficult, but when you went out, did both you and your wife run out there? Okay, and there's only one entrance, and that's the front, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so when you walked in there, what did you see?
I opened the door and I walked in, and you couldn't see anything, and I took a step in, and I saw her laying on the floor. And that's when I told my wife, I said, you don't want to come in here, and she came in. And I said, call 911, and I knew she wasn't going to be able to.
Okay.
I grabbed my phone and I started calling.
Where was Jared at that time?
He was in the house, laying in the floor crying.
In Jared and Angie's house, they'd found Angie's murdered body, and they did the only thing they could. They called 911 on their own son. Not only was Jared the likely suspect because he was the victim's husband, he had also been documented as acting strangely and sometimes violently, and he was in possession of Angie's phone. For these reasons, he was taken into custody. The police's working theory was that this was the final culmination of escalating tension in their relationship. She'd wanted to leave him, and he'd killed her rather than allowing her to do so. But first, they sat down to interview him.
So, it's my understanding you were just in the hospital, is that right?
Yes, and after that I started feeling weird.
What were you in the hospital for?
Okay. Because of our substance.
What was it? Meth, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that something you use a lot, or just dabble, or? Okay.
Sorry.
Until recently?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you used again since then? Okay. Meth, or something different? Okay.
A possible defense narrative began to present itself. Jared claimed he'd never used meth before that final Sunday, just a few days before Angie's death. Had it acted on him to change his behavior, make him lose control?
Do you want to tell me what happened?
Jared's long silence here was almost more telling than the answer might have been. Of course, he had the right to remain silent, but his body language was full of stress.
And it's a matter of how and what your mindset was, what your thought process was, what caused it. Did she make you mad? What happened?
Did you love her?
Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. His answer wasn't clear, and he wasn't being cooperative.
What time did you get home from work?
5.
Was she awake or was she asleep? Do you not know, or are you just refusing the answer?
I'm just refusing the answer.
Okay.
Did she do something bad to you or something? Did she deserve that? Something
Just to control.
Police investigators have a number of different methods they use to try to get a suspect to talk. Here, they appealed to the helplessness of his situation and the tragedy of his wife's death, hoping to see some remorse.
This isn't going to go away. I'll tell you that. You can stonewall us if you want to. There's a lot of people that are brokenhearted tonight. Your family, her family, and it's not going away. And you caused that. And the only way to give anybody closure and ease some of the pain is to take accountability and tell us what happened. And
This got through to Jared, but not in the way that they'd hoped it would.
I did drugs and I was up way too late. I just forgot who I lived in the city was. Jesus Christ. Lost my way. I just want to get out of the I'm very sorry. Sorry, I failed you.
Help us understand. Tell us
why you're sorry. Tell us what occurred for this tragic ending to happen. What happened? What was going on?
Just drugs, man. You gotta stay away from drugs.
Well, I understand that. So you did it, and tell us what happened after you did it.
Drugs just make you go crazy. It makes you really sad.
He was implying that he'd done it, but they needed him to admit it outright. Then he said something startling.
Saying I'm sorry, but refusing to talk and take ownership of what you did, that's not good enough.
I just lost my way. I lost my way with God.
That's clear. We're not asking for generalities, and we're not asking about your personal relationship with God. Obviously, it's a struggle. It's a struggle for everybody. That's not a question. Nobody has a perfect relationship with Him. But we're going to ask you one last time what happened. And if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But your opportunity to have any kind of looking like a good guy of, this is what I did and I'm sorry and I can't believe I did it, that door is closing on you.
Look, I didn't do it.
You can't even keep a straight face, buddy.
Jared made a cursory attempt at denying it, like he felt like he ought to try. And he laughed. Laughed at how ridiculous it was to say it hadn't been him. Laughed also at his predicament. Maybe laughed at what he'd done to Angie. But this was no laughing matter. He began to talk about a voice he'd heard, something on his TV screen.
What did it force you to do to her? What did it force you to do to your wife?
It forced me.
To what?
To kill her.
Why? What did it tell you to do to her? Did it tell you how to kill her?
Yes.
So how did you kill her? Tell us how you killed her.
I don't know because it wasn't Jared. It wasn't Jared.
He admitted he'd killed her, but claimed he didn't remember how, that he'd been disassociated from himself at the time. But this wasn't true. He did remember.
Let me tell you, what did you do?
What you saw.
What did I see? Tell me what I saw. I'm asking you.
That's what it did.
And made you cut her head off.
Jared was finally cracking under the pressure. He admitted that Angie had been awake when he got home from work in the early hours, and that they'd talked. This part at least seemed true. If Jared had been violent with Angie before, it seemed reasonable that she'd grab a weapon to protect herself when they started arguing. Little did she know that this would be a fateful mistake, and that that same knife would be used against her.
Did you cut her head off while she was still alive? Yes. There were other stabbings on her body. Did you do that after you cut her head off? Or before?
Oh. Before or afterwards, just now?
You just told me before. Why did you put her head in the bathtub?
You told me.
Her hair was wet. How come? Did you turn the shower on?
Yes.
To wash yourself or to wash her hair or what?
To wash.
Though Jared stated he'd been in some sort of fugue when he killed Angie, he'd still had the presence of mind to try and clean himself up, to cover the tracks of his crime. This apparent lack of control was a lie.
Did you have plans on hurting your mom or your dad when you went over to their house? There were no voices that told you to hurt them?
There's voices that tell me to shoot.
To shoot yourself? Why didn't you? Where was the gun? You were gonna hurt your parents. So you could control that. You could control not hurting them.
If he could stop the voices from making him kill his parents, why couldn't he stop them from making him kill Angie? There was no explanation as to why, but it raised questions about his reasoning for the attack. Here the interview terminated. He was left alone in the interview room, and his body language was as telling as it had been earlier. He curled up on the floor in the fetal position, as if to comfort himself in the extremes of his guilt. But he hadn't shown this guilt earlier that day. In fact, he'd been caught on CCTV in the meat market where Angie worked, where the couple had first met, at 12:49 p.m., walking casually towards the fridges to get a beer. He'd killed his wife only 8 hours earlier, and here he was stealing a beer from her workplace as if to celebrate. He walked straight past the counter and opened it in the parking lot. Then he drove home, where his crime would unravel, and under threat of exposure, he would begin to panic. And he was guilty. Worse, his whole family knew it. Even on that first 911 call, his father had cried about how this could have been prevented.
Oh my God, please hurry. There's something wrong with my son. Oh my God, I told him in the hospital to keep him. Oh my God, I told him that 2 days ago to keep him.
His father seemed to believe that something was wrong with his son to cause him to do this. And indeed, Jared's mental competency became an issue during his prosecution. But a court-ordered evaluation of his mental faculties found that he was competent to stand trial. And so he pleaded guilty to Angie's murder. As part of his agreement, he waived all rights to appeal the verdict. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison in August 2024. But why did he do it? He claimed it was a drug-induced psychotic break, and he did test positive for cocaine and marijuana, though not amphetamines. But their rushed marriage, Angie's vulnerable dependence on him as her way out of getting deported, and suggestions of abuse all implied that this awful killing wasn't just out of the blue. She had her whole life ahead of her, full of ambition, and it was ended in the crazed attack of a single morning.
We want to honor Angie. Queremos honrar a Angie, and we want to celebrate her life today.
Remembering Angie Diaz with music, prayer, and memories of the 21-year-old who was killed January 11. Her family coming to terms with her murder. She didn't deserve to die like this, a pastor said. Her aunt shared a few words, saying she was an angel sent by God who touched everyone she met with her contagious joy and smile. She says those who met her will forever hold a piece of her in them. Angie's death was tragic. Her family has said they have no room for hate in their hearts.
But the reality is that bad things do in fact happen to good people.
The family says they're thankful for the community's outpouring of support during this difficult time for them. Incredible is how they describe it.
Una luz bella, bella.
A beautiful light is how they'll remember her.
Para nosotros no es un adiós.
They say it's not a goodbye, it's a see you later when they meet again.
April 2024. Dayton police are summoned to an ordinary street after reports of an awful tragedy.
16-year-old granddaughter's been shot in the torso somewhere. I don't know what happened.
Where is she? Where's the gun?
Upstairs. Go up to the right.
It's a scene of chaos.
Where's the gun? She's right here. Where's the gun?
I heard everybody screaming. Okay. Hang in there.
In only an instant, this family's lives have been turned upside down.
Leave your phone. I'm on the phone with my grandmother. Let go.
No, she's not. No, she's not. No, she's not.
Their 15-year-old daughter has been shot in the chest. Worst of all, it was a family member who was holding the gun.
He's autistic. He had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah, let's start CPR.
A vulnerable child and a lethal weapon. Is this tragedy a matter of carelessness or something darker? Here on the Decoder, we've gone through hours of exclusive body cam footage to understand what really happened that fateful April day when 15-year-old Kendra lost her life. The mistakes, alongside the lies.
Stop lying to me. Stop lying to me.
This is the story of the death of Kendra Farler. Dayton is a bustling city in Ohio. It has a violent crime rate around average, and the Farler family's neighborhood is ostensibly no more dangerous than any of the others. But it isn't the neighborhood they have to worry about.
Sounds like someone got hurt up in this apartment.
Damn, how did you get hurt?
No idea.
Kendra comes from a large, vibrant family. She has 2 sisters and 2 brothers, some of them related to her by blood and some of them not. She's particularly close to her stepmom, her dad's new wife, Jennifer. Her social media is full of smiling photos, tribute to her family. That family isn't without its issues, however. They're all living on top of each other in a cramped boarding house, owned by her biological mom's brother. Her mom died from an overdose 2 years earlier. Her dad, 38-year-old Kenneth Paul Farler III, is currently on probation for trafficking in cocaine, and he's previously done time in prison. Meanwhile, her stepbrother, Wyatt, is autistic and nonverbal. He doesn't go to school and has been involved with children's services in the past. Living in such close quarters can make any family's tensions rise, but with added stresses and firearms present in the home, they were reaching a breaking point. And on April 14th, everything would go wrong.
I'm gonna say this is gonna be deemed accident, but it's totally gotta be negligence.
The Dayton Police Department received a 911 call at 12:20 p.m. Unfortunately, we don't have the audio content of this call, but we know it was Kendra's stepmom, and she's hysterical. Her stepdaughter has just been shot. When the dispatcher asks who shot her, Jennifer can't bring herself to respond.
Where is she? Where's the gun?
The first responders arrive on the scene to find Kendra on the floor in the doorway between the hall and one of the bedrooms. They immediately start CPR.
Where is it? Upstairs!
At the top! Where's the gun? She's right here, please hurry. Where's the gun?
I don't know.
Please hurry, please get her, don't
My stepson grabbed it.
Please get her, please.
Yeah.
Please tell me she's not dead, please.
Over the sounds of the first responders trying to save Kendra's life, Kenneth's voice can be heard, desperate and trying to explain what happened.
He's autistic. He had no idea what he was doing.
He's talking about his stepson, 12-year-old Wyatt. For now, none of that matters. It's just about trying to save Kendra.
Yeah, let's start CPR. I'm gonna hold pressure. You start CPR, okay?
Ma'am, does she have a pulse?
Right here. Right here.
Does she have a pulse?
Give us a second.
Can we have more room to? Okay. Please.
Sanders, come grab this gun.
It's right here in front of me.
Oh my God.
I need you guys to get back. Get back. The medics are gonna come in.
More medics arrive. It's not looking good for Kendra, and the family's just trying to understand how this happened.
I was in my room.
No, that's the ascending aorta right there.
That's my daughter. That's my baby. I don't know what to do. I'm not gonna kill myself. Is there a pulse? Please tell me there's a pulse.
No.
Huh? No, he's not close.
Who owns the shotgun?
It's my brother-in-law's shotgun.
What's his name?
His name's Greg Sampson. He's perfectly legal.
Kenneth says the owner of the gun is the same man who owns the apartment, his first wife's brother, Greg.
We were just sitting here watching TV.
Where was it?
He had it in the corner, but it was in the box. It was over here in the corner. My stepson's autistic.
For 2 seconds, and why I couldn't count.
You first, gentle, sir. Come on, come with me. Okay? Is there any other firearms in this room?
No.
Knives?
I got a couple knives, but there's no more firearms.
Okay, come on.
I want my mom. Where's my phone?
As the medics take Kendra downstairs, the police sweep the apartment.
He said the only weapon in here was the shotgun, but there's mag lights everywhere, like gun lights.
It's full of weapons. It's not exactly child-friendly.
The mag lights, there's a water bottle full of bullets right here. Those are like rifle bullets.
You see the rifle on them?
Did you see or hear anything?
I was asleep. I don't know what happened up there. I just heard what everybody was doing.
Is this
know what I know. Man, I don't think it's that good. I knew. It was an accident, so I know it's what I heard. I know nothing about it. Until 911, I was asleep.
We got the firearms secure.
Kenneth's father is also on the scene. He doesn't seem to know what happened, and neither does Greg, the one Kenneth said owns the shotgun.
Do you have any weapons or anything
No.
Okay. Okay.
Greg is in a state of shock, but he says he doesn't own a gun. This is a fact easy to disprove, so it doesn't make sense to lie. But there's a lot of confusion on the street outside the apartment today.
They got 3 bedrooms. There's 2 other people living with them. One of the dudes in the other room brought the shotgun in to show him, and he stepped out of the room for a minute, and the kid walks over and picks it up and just.
It's only the people who were inside who can explain what on earth happened, because the paramedics have been unable to revive Kendra. The 15-year-old has been killed. A fatal accident or something more? The cops separate all the family members and put them in different police cruisers. Perhaps understandably, Kenny's immediately getting restless.
What's up, partner?
He said he was going to let me out to go be with my family.
Okay. I'm waiting on him, too. He just put me off, too. So just give us a second here, partner.
He's devastated by what's happened.
She was my firstborn daughter. Her mother passed away from a drug overdose 2 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And Wyatt's fully autistic. He's nonverbal. He don't understand anything. He plays video games and Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty. I don't know if he's seen the gun or I don't know.
It's all right, man. Just breathe. It's okay.
His story remains consistent, that Wyatt shot Kendra using Greg's shotgun. This is what he tells his other daughter, who's only 7 years old.
Wyatt didn't know he was doing, baby. It's not his fault.
What happened?
Wyatt picked up Greg's gun and pulled the trigger. He didn't know. He didn't know what he was doing.
Where's Mommy? Where's Mommy?
She's over in another car.
She'll be on the minute.
She's talking to another officer right now, okay?
I need you right now, baby.
Just give your dad a big ol' hug. He needs a big love hug, okay?
Jennifer says the same.
Yes, Fred. Brought the gun in the room to show him.
Okay.
And he stepped out for a minute to go to the bathroom.
Who did?
Greg.
Okay.
Then he left it in there. My son.
Okay.
My son grabbed it and he picks it up.
Okay.
And he.
Okay.
And she wasn't sitting anything.
Okay. Was she sitting down?
She was standing
at the door. Okay. Who was the friend that brought it in?
Greg.
Greg brought it in?
Simpson, yeah, it's his gun.
Okay. She's visibly devastated, but the officer tries to nail down the details of her story.
So is that Dad? No.
Dad's friend.
Dad's friend is Greg.
Yep.
Who's dad?
Dad is Kenny.
Kenny. Okay, so Kenny's dad. Greg's the friend who brought the gun in. Does Greg live with you guys?
He lives in the other room.
The one across the hallway?
Yeah.
Okay.
Across the hallway. Yeah, across the hallway.
For now, it sounds like a horrible accident, and the parents aren't involved.
One of the dudes in the other room brought the shotgun in to show him, and he stepped out of the room for a minute, and the kid walks over and picks it up. That's what she's saying. Long story short, put it out right there, and left the room for a split second, came back, and as soon as he was on his way back, he pulled the trigger. I would imagine it's got to be some sort of negligence charge going there, but I don't know.
A terrible accident, a family ripped apart by tragedy, and a serious case of negligence. That's if we accept Kenny's account without question, because something about this story doesn't add up.
So you say Greg brought the gun in to show Kenny. Was it in his room, or did he bring it into Kenny's room?
He brought it into Kenny's room.
Okay.
And,
what did they do with it when he showed it to him?
I was talking to her.
Okay. Where was he at? Did he just come in the doorway? Was he sitting in the hallway? Did he come into Kenny's room?
He came in, he sat down on the couch in between us.
And this is Greg, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Greg sat down on the couch between you and Kenny, and he had the gun. What type of gun are we talking about? Okay. What was he saying about the shotgun? Did he say anything about it being loaded or not loaded?
I think he thought it wasn't loaded.
And who else was in Kenny's room when that happened?
Me, Kenny, Greg, my son, Kendra, and my daughter.
Okay, so everybody was kind of in it. And that was in, just so I'm 100% correct, that's in Kenny's room.
Yes.
And then what happens?
And then I heard the bag.
Okay, so you didn't
See it.
You guys hadn't left the room or anything?
No, Greg left the room. And then I heard the bang.
But this happened in Greg's room, right?
It happened in Kenny's room.
Okay, because Kenny's telling me that's Greg's room.
Greg's room?
That's what he's telling me.
Oh.
But I didn't see a couch in the room he's saying is his. That's why I'm wondering. Because you guys said you're sitting on the couch, right? So the room you're talking about is where Kendra is laying. When you go in, there's a couch right there, and then past the couch is a bed, correct?
Yes.
To your knowledge, that's Greg's room or Kenny's room?
That's Greg's room.
Jennifer seems certain the shooting happened in Kenny's room, until the officer tells her that Kenny is saying the opposite. In the aftermath of a trauma like this, the memory is suggestible, but she's more than willing to take her husband's word for something she witnessed as well.
Did he bring the rifle in to
Kenny's
room?
Yeah, and then we went into Greg's room.
Okay. So, was Greg
He
and
did bring it into Kenny's room.
Kenny, were those people in the room when this happened?
Everybody was in the room.
So you were in the room also? When you heard the shot, what's the very next thing you saw?
I turned around and I saw that.
She says she wasn't looking when the gun went off. Truth or plausible deniability? According to Kenny, Greg never keeps his shotgun loaded. Why then was it primed to go off that fateful day? And why would he bring it into the room and then leave the kids with it? The investigators looked to Greg for answers. Where Kenny and his wife say everyone was in Greg's room watching TV, Greg says something quite different.
You know how you're daydreaming almost? You're dreaming, but you can hear things around you. I just kept hearing screaming. It went on forever in my head. And finally, I just woke up. And it was just blaring loud, screaming like bloody murder. And I just jumped out of bed and I opened my door. It don't have a door handle on it. I tried to open it. I got it open, and then I turned around the corner. And that's when I hear everybody screaming. I turned around the corner, and there was Sissy laying on the floor, and Kenny was over top of her. I said, "What happened?" He said, "She got shot with a shotgun." I just immediately, I just started CPR. I didn't know what else to do. That's all I know. I don't know. But that's it. I mean, that's how it went. It was a matter of 2 minutes. Do
you know who shot her?
I have no clue at all. I was dead asleep in the room. He just said she was shot with a shotgun. I don't know how it happened.
Then Greg reiterates it.
Do you have any gun today?
No.
The gun wasn't his.
We ain't gonna play games. You weren't asleep.
Yes, 100% I was asleep. 100. I swear to God, 100.
You just had the gun showing it off to Kenny.
No, I did not. Absolutely 100% not. You get to see my bed where I rolled out of bed. You see where I was giving her CPR? I was up.
That doesn't change anything.
I'm telling you, 100%. I
You were
never
telling me you were asleep when this happened.
100,000% asleep. 100% asleep. Ask who was in that, whoever was in that bedroom. Ask 100%. I was asleep. Absolutely. 1,000,000%. There's not even a question.
I just talked to Jennifer and Kenny, and neither one of them say you were asleep.
Because I probably said it because I just woke up and ran in there. I said, "What's going on?" I literally had 1 second to turn the corner.
Where'd you wake up from? It happened in your room, wasn't it?
No, absolutely not. My bedroom's the other one, the other door, the one without the knob on kind of caddy corner. There's 2 doors. So you got Kenny's room that has the TV and all that in it. And you got a room over here, and you got my room directly across.
What's in your room?
Nothing at all. My bed. My bed.
The investigators' aggressive approach might seem over the top, but a 15-year-old has just been killed, and it's her own family who might be trying to cover up what happened. Greg, however, doesn't fold under pressure.
It is not my shotgun, I swear to God. Oh my God.
Do you share that room with them?
No, I do not. My clothes are folded up in my room. Across, so there's 2 doors like this, like across from each other. One has doorknob, mine don't have doorknob. This one does, and then Kenny's room's off to the side. And you'll see my clothes.
I apologize.
No, it's all right. You're doing your job, man.
I'm trying to take care of this.
I know.
Figuring this out.
That's my baby.
Other people are relying on you.
Oh,
like.
absolutely.
All right.
Okay, yeah. You're doing your job.
He's telling the truth. So who owns the gun? And how did Wyatt get his hands on it? Greg's statements here mean one thing for certain. Kenny and Jennifer are lying, and the police know it.
Don't sit here and lie to me about this. Your ass is going downtown. Hold on. Take him downtown.
What?
Why am I going downtown?
You lied about something. I don't know.
The lead detective sends Kenny to the police department, and after some stern words to Jennifer, he does the same to her.
Whatever's going on, whatever you're trying to hold back, now's not the time. But it's bad enough that this has happened.
Her beloved stepdaughter has just been killed. It's past time that she's honest with the police. And when she is, Kenny's story also falls apart.
Your wife is fine. We just got done talking to her. Kenneth, I'm Detective House. I talked to you out there at the scene.
Yes, sir.
All right? Obviously, I want to talk to you more because you guys weren't being honest out there. Don't start. Listen to me first. All right? Your stories made no sense. They were inconsistent. We spoke obviously to Greg too. All right?
Look at Kenny's body language. He hunched over himself with his legs trembling, the very picture of a man terrified of what's about to happen.
The truth that we already knew.
About what?
About what happened to Kendra. Do you want to talk to us further about what happened?
Yes.
Okay, then sign it right here where it says sign.
Despite his fears, he waives his right. He seems to have given up.
Who lives where, all that good stuff, who was at the room.
So when you go up the steps, you go to the right, that's Greg's room. You go to the left, that's my room.
Whose room did this happen in?
It happened in my room.
Okay.
Outside my room.
What do you mean outside your room?
She was in the hallway.
With his arms wrapped tightly around himself, Kenny admits he was lying about the location of his daughter's death. And that's not all.
Whose shotgun is that?
Whose shotgun is it?
Whose shotgun is it? The truth.
It's mine.
It's yours.
It was mine.
How long have you had that shotgun?
A couple days.
Couple days?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where did you get it?
To be honest with you, I didn't know the guy's name.
You just got it off the street?
Let's not forget a key fact here. Kenny is currently on community control sanctions for assault and trafficking in drugs. He has previously been convicted of burglary and theft, He's been released from prison in the last 5 years. All of this prevents him from legally owning a firearm, and there were a lot of firearms around his apartment that day.
You have any other guns?
I don't.
You don't have a black semi-auto?
A black?
Or semi-auto handgun?
A black one?
I don't know, that's what Jennifer said it was black. I haven't seen it.
I did. It's gone now.
It's gone?
Yeah.
So if there's any other guns in your room, whose were those belong to?
If there's any other guns in my room, it's oblivious.
You're what?
Oblivious to me.
He denies that the other guns in his room are his, but owning just one unregistered illegal weapon is enough to cast serious blame on him in the death of his daughter, no matter who shot it.
Kenneth, I want to give you an opportunity to just be completely honest about everything. Because I tell you what, Kenneth, look at me. Look, I don't care if you can see me well or not. If I would look in your eyes when I tell you this, it's bullshit to pin this on an autistic child who had nothing to do with this.
Do what?
You heard exactly what I said. I'm giving you the opportunity right now to come clean about what actually happened, because I know what happened.
And you tell me what happened.
No, that's your job to do, to tell me, because you couldn't keep your story straight. You already lied to me about the shotgun. You lied to me about the rooms.
I lied to you about the shotgun. Put it on the bell. I shouldn't have a shotgun.
You're right. You shouldn't have. But now, let's be honest about the rest of the story. It's time to man up. I understand why it's not your son.
The investigator isn't pulling any punches. Wyatt is Kenny's stepson, not his biological son. The detective tugs on that thread to see if the story will unravel, taking aim at their relationship. He wants to see if Kenny loves Wyatt enough to defend himself.
He is my son. I've raised him.
And you're willing to do this to him?
Do this to him?
Yeah.
It ain't his fault.
You're right.
And here it is. The thing Kenny has been trying to hide all along. The thing the cops now know to be true because Jennifer has told them. It wasn't Wyatt holding the gun. It was Kenny. And they only needed Kenny to confirm it.
Because he never had the shotgun, you did. Kendra even told you to put it down. It's time to be a man. Admit what happened.
Where's my wife?
I already told you where your wife's at. She was sitting in the room right next to you over there.
And you're telling me she said I did this?
Absolutely.
Fuck out of here, man.
Does it amaze you that she told the truth?
This is my daughter.
The cops are allowed to lie to the people they're interviewing. But this isn't a lie. Jennifer has admitted she'd been trying to cover up the truth. She's now told the police that Kenny was messing with the shotgun. And in the end, it was Kendra who suffered the consequences. Wyatt never touched it.
But you can't do this to Wyatt. That kid has a hard enough life already. Kenneth, I'm going to calm down for a second. All right? I know it's hard, and believe me, it pisses me off to no end. But you need to just be a man and be honest about what happened. How did this happen?
Finally, something about this angle gets through to him.
Tell me what happened.
I picked up a shotgun. And there's a pepper on the side of it that you push up to eject the shells.
Okay.
And when I was ejecting the shells, nothing came out. Nothing.
So you were like racking the shot, what they call racking the shotgun? So like
eject the shells out of it.
And nothing was coming out?
Nothing came out of it. Nothing came out when I did it. And the last time I put it forward, it went off.
Still hunched over, with his voice shaking, Kenny admits to what he did. But he asserts that it was an accident. that he didn't think it could go off.
Were you playing around pointing the gun at her?
No.
Jennifer said you were.
I didn't point it at her. I was holding it in the general direction. I had.
She said you were messing with her and Kendra was telling you to put the gun down.
No, that's not true. That is not true.
Why would she say that?
Maybe she just wasn't paying attention to exactly what was going on.
Or maybe you just were 100% certain in your head that the gun wasn't loaded.
Jennifer says Kenny was deliberately messing with Kendra. Even if he didn't think the gun was loaded, this is the very opposite of gun safety. We can only imagine what that interaction sounded like. Kendra asking her father to please just put the gun down, and Kenny simply laughing at her before the unthinkable. The sound of the shotgun going off.
I pumped it 6 times, and normally it ejects all the shells out of it, and it didn't. And when I pulled the pump forward the last time, I don't know if my finger was on the trigger. I really honestly don't remember. It went off.
At no point had you pointed it at Kendra?
No, I would never point a gun at my child.
Did she ever tell you to put the gun down or quit messing with it?
I didn't hear her. If she did, I didn't hear her. I would never do something like that on purpose. I would never harm my child.
What did you do after the shotgun went off?
I dropped it, I ran straight to her, I grabbed and took my shirt off, and I lifted up my shirt, and I put it inside the woman, and I started holding it, and I started screaming, call 911.
Now Kenny sounds genuinely remorseful. But even as Jennifer was on the phone to 911, he was scheming to get away with what he'd done. He told the dispatcher himself his stepson had done it only minutes after the gun went off. Nonverbal, vulnerable Wyatt was the perfect scapegoat.
At what point did you tell Jennifer to say that Wyatt did this? Was it after the 911 call?
I was terrified. I put it on my lap like this, and I went to pump it the last time, and when it came forward.
As it came forward, it went off. Then you didn't do anything else with the shotgun, you dropped it and you went to Kendra. Is that correct?
Went straight to my daughter.
Now that he's confessed, the investigator is all business. He gets samples of Kenny's DNA to compare with the shotgun.
I know every investigation, we have to do it again. It's
of course
crazy rules, but that's the way it is. No problem with that?
No, of course not.
Kenneth, you know you're not supposed to possess any weapons, right?
Yes, sir.
It's not like Kenny was ignorant of the terms of his probation. He knew full well he wasn't supposed to have a gun, and he had 4. Now he has to face the consequences.
In addition to this incident, you also have a probation violation warrant, okay?
A further search of the apartment unearths the spent shotgun shell underneath a cabinet, and his 3 other guns hidden in his room. Each of them is loaded with live ammunition. The shotgun was reported stolen in December 2022, nearly a year and a half earlier in Indiana. The cops also find various drug paraphernalia. Jennifer has confessed that they were about to smoke weed when Kenny was messing with the shotgun. The autopsy shows that Kendra suffered 1 shotgun wound to the chest. There were 24 projectiles inside her torso, piercing her heart, aorta, liver, and both lungs. And when the police talked to Kenny's other daughter, her story matches her father's confession. This innocent 7-year-old witnessed her sister's death, her father's careless behavior with the gun that led up to it, and his devastated tears afterwards. But by then it was too late. Jennifer is released. She's not a repeat offender like Kenneth is. Kenneth, meanwhile, is charged with murder, handling weapons while under disability, and an active probation violation warrant. While waiting to be booked, he tells the officers he's swallowed a 10-gram bag of fentanyl and a 7-gram bag of methamphetamines. As a result, he's taken to hospital, where after 5 hours he's cleared as perfectly healthy. He'd lied about taking the drugs. He confesses this to the officers, saying he just didn't want to go to jail. Even now, with nowhere left to run, he's trying to get out of taking responsibility for his actions.
We understand that despite being on probation, police and the probation office had no idea where he was.
Yeah, that's right, and it's hard to believe, but Montgomery County Common Pleas Court says not only was Farler lying about where he was living, but failed to report to his probation officer as required. In fact, a warrant was issued for his arrest just 4 days before his daughter was killed.
Perhaps Kenny didn't kill his daughter deliberately, but there's no way he should have been allowed access to a firearm. And in this, Kendra was failed by the system. He was scheduled to meet with his probation officer on April 2nd. He never showed up. This lack of accountability and the high chance of his recidivism meant sentencing was never going to go well for him. When he pleaded guilty in April 2025, a year after the killing, he was sentenced to 23 to 28 and a half years in prison for involuntary manslaughter, reckless homicide, and child endangering. He'd been to prison 40 times already. He's a repeat offender and has been breaking the law for far too long. His carelessness finally led to the death of his daughter, whether it was on purpose or not. Greg, meanwhile, who really was just asleep in his room, hasn't been charged with anything. Wyatt is now in the foster care system, and no one in the family is going to recover from the tragic loss of Kendra anytime soon. What do you think about this horrifying story? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe, keep up with our channel, and we'll see you very soon on the Decoder.